the sins that you can't confess. I'm just your ghost if we're not undressed. A part of me wish that we never met, but you act like we never. Got too wasted in the bathroom of your parents' house. Then you kissed me in the backseat of a taxi ride. And we said things that were cheesy, but we meant them, there were feelings, and now you deny it. You're in love with the idea of me, but you're not in my reality. Find it hard to even picture it, 'cause my reality ain't your reality, no. The sins that you can't confess. I'm just your ghost if we're not undressed. A part of me wish that we never met, but you act like we never. Got too wasted in the bathroom of your parents' house. Then you kissed me in the backseat of a taxi ride. And we said things that were cheesy, but we meant them, there were feelings, and now you deny it. You're in love with the idea of me, but you're not in my reality. Find it hard to even picture it, 'cause my reality ain't your reality, no.
Walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky.
Welcome everybody to tonight's coverage of our series of DZG Elysium versus Dreadnought Frost. I am one of your hosts, What Debris, and joining me tonight is one of my new friends here, Tony. How you doing tonight, Tony?
I'm doing great. It's good to be here. I'm so honored to be in the presence of such a lovely caster and a Masters level ARAM player.
Diamond 1 now. We checked my MMR. I dropped, sadly. But we are already underway. We've got Dread Zone Elysium on the blue side, on the red side, apologies. And we have Dreadnought Frost on the blue side. Immediately, bands coming through. We've got Wukong, we've got Ornn, and we've got Tristana all taken away.
So I'm always glad to see Wukong taken away right now. I think he's like in such a weird spot where he is like two parts like OP and like one part like super troll if the person doesn't know how to play him, which is me. So like it's troll for me to play him, but I respect anybody that can do it. So maybe just a respect ban coming back from Dreadnought.
Yeah, I think just the fact that he's so good on the patch right now, having the ability to just create team fights whenever he wants to with that clone plus the ulti, makes him a really good jungle champion, good gank paths, good team setup, all-around solid pick. And speaking of team setup, Seraphine, also not going to be seen today. And sadly, after the last series we saw with DZG, they looked pretty good on the Seraphine, so not too shocked to see that one taken away.
Yeah, no song serenades for us, but I understand why. I think it's just super difficult, you know, when there's a giant, like, ulti that covers half of the lane. It's impossible. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, and our last two bans are going to be the Victor and the Sejuani. Not too surprising to see Sejuani taken away, as that seems to be Dreadnought's top laner's comfort pick when being put into that top side, aside from like something like Renekton. But we are going to see updated and mid-worked Sivir as our first pick for Dreadnought Frost.
Can you explain the changes to me, as I am not an ADC player?
Not a ton really changed. Most of the nerfs and the balance changes were around taking Sivir away from the Dark Harvest poke lethality style of champion that we had seen in the past. Now more focused on auto-attacking crit. Her W doesn't have an auto-attacking limit on it anymore. You can do it more than 3 times, but it's based on a time limit. So if you have more attack speed, you can get more bouncing boomerangs out. Her Q now scales with crit damage. Her E doesn't give her mana back anymore. It gives her health. And she can keep her ulti up practically indefinitely, as long as she's still auto-attacking people.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Speaking of major auto-attackers, we're seeing the Ashe and Diana locked in, and I am curious to see if this Diana's going to go jungle or not, because I always love seeing a Diana in the jungle. Though I don't know that I would want to do that into a Trundle. Jarvan, maybe.
Yeah, Diana does have the flexibility to move between mid and jungle. Most of the time we are seeing her in the jungle, but it's not impossible for her to sit mid lane. The Nashor's Tooth plus the Sunfire build is still fairly popular for her. It still does enough damage where she is a threat in team fights, and is tanky enough where she can like get that good ulti set up, hit 2 or 3 people with it, set up her whole team for the fight. And speaking of ulti setups, the Jarvan plus the Orianna, the ball delivery system, has been locked in for Dreadnought.
That's some serious wombo combos. That's I mean, like, I'm always good for a press R comp, so this is it should be exciting if they can execute it properly.
Yeah, speed up the Jarvan with the Sivir, drop the ball on him, just let him cataclysm 2 or 3 people, and then just shockwave. Always excited to see in fights. We'll have to see, especially with an immobile AD carry like Ashe, how the Elysium AD carry is going to play around it. It's not going to be incredibly easy, but that is an Amumu locked in, I think almost for certain, in support.
I mean, the ulti is, it's another great tool, and I think it actually gives the ability to act as a disengage and engage tool because of the ulti plus Q, the double Qs. So it should be exciting.
Yeah, they did a bit of a minor buff for Amumu, just with the lowering the mana cost on his Q, just so he's able to sit in bot lane and throw Qs out and be a bit more aggressive with them, as opposed to being incredibly hard punished for missing 1 skill shot, which I think, positive change for him. And with the durability patch, tank supports are obviously a little bit better, especially with Amumu's innate tankiness. Should be exciting to pair up with Ashe, because Ashe can just set him up so nicely.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you get a good, all the slows that are going to be coming out from the Ashe, plus the ulti, there's definitely some good CC layering that can go on there. Like, you're gonna have a bad time if your entire, time to kill is you being stunned.
Yeah, that Crystal Arrow plus the Curse of the Sad Mummy. There's a lot of crowd control from this Elysium bot lane. But speaking of things that we're not going to see this game, Malphite and Gangplank are both being taken away. A lot of top lane focus in the Elysium bans so far. In the meantime, Dreadnought Frost has taken away the Xerath and the Gwen, trying to protect that top lane a little bit more.
I mean, I think being a top laner, especially if you're gonna like likely play into a melee matchup, or at least expecting to, getting snipped every time by the Gwen is just unbearable. Especially because no matter what you do, if the game goes long enough and you fail to like close out in time, the Gwen's gonna be a menace to society, like 100%.
Yeah, Gwen is one of those champions at the top side that's really difficult to pin down for her whole time through. I do like this Gragas lock-in. I guess there's still a lot of flexibility with the Elysium draft. It could be something like Diana jungle, Amumu support, Gragas top, but it could even be Gragas in the jungle, or Gragas in the like mid lane, Diana in the jungle with Amumu in support, or
oh my God,
because these champions have the ability to shift. These champions have the ability to like shift things around. You could throw Gragas in support, have Diana mid, Amumu jungle. There's a lot that you can do with this draft. I like it so far.
Okay. You like the versatility. I'll keep that in mind. Oh, I don't know. GG, draft's over.
Speaking of versatility, a great top lane tank for Frost. Shyvana has been locked in. Something that we've been seeing a little bit if you've been watching the LPL, OMG's Shanji has really liked this pick and has shown how strong tank top Shyvana can be. Not any of like the AP one-shotting or the like hybrid build with press the attack, try to do a bunch of damage, but just being a pure beefy wall of a tank.
I'm just gonna throw this out there, you know, I, as a Shyvana expert, I'm pretty high up there in North America and global, so hear me out when I say this. Like, if you get PTA procs off, like, properly with your Q and you're placing them in a way that all of the enemy team is getting Q procs, you're gonna deal some damage, especially after an E, because all you really need is the Demonic Embrace. Demonic Embrace alone is gonna deal some serious damage, especially to, like, to all members of DZG.
Speaking of members of DZG, that is a Vayne lock-in. Now, last week we did see Lovable hang on to that one. In the mid lane, there were a lot of lane swaps going on, so it was like half mid, half top lane, just trying to get the right matchup. But it is a pick that Lovable is comfortable on. I just got word that Lovable is not playing this week. We've got Chitin in the mid lane, so still a lot of versatility. I don't know exactly where any of these champions are going to go right now, because it could be Ashe support, it could be Gragas support, it could be Amumu support. Diana or Gragas can both go mid lane. Vayne can go mid lane. We have some options.
I think the Vayne is 100% ego pick. Like, that is 100% an ego pick. I just hope that Dreadnought Frost is unable to keep the DZG ego in check. I want to see the DZG ego all over the place. Like, I want it to be out of control.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We've got a bit of time before we actually get into the pick ban, where we wait for the timer to count down. What do you think about these drafts so far? Because these are both what I would call non-standard drafts.
There's 100% nothing standard about this. Like, you know, Dreadnought Frost, I think, has like a marginally more standard comp. Like, I mean, it is, while the Shyvana and Jarvan like aren't typically on a team together, like, yes, they can respectively both go to top lane. I mean, there was the days of the J4 top that you would just go the pure like lethality one-shot build, but at the same time, we're probably going to see the J4 jungle and Shyvana top. It's a little bit of a mix-up from what I'm used to seeing in Five's environments. And additionally, yeah, DZG, like, it's, I'm not entirely sure what this identity is, but I'm sure it's gonna be sick.
There's one thing that worries me with the Elysium comp, and it's that we have Gragas, we have Diana, we have Amumu. Diana and Amumu work really well together. They have that Curse of the Sad Mummy into the Moonfall. Gragas ulti has a little bit of anti-synergy with those two abilities. I'm really hoping that we don't see, like, a beautiful Curse of the Sad Mummy finding, like, a few members, and then a Moonfall to bring them all together, and then the Gragas ulti to just throw them all away and save them.
Yeah, I think there could be a lot of anti-synergy going on there. Like, I don't know, like, if done properly, I think DZG has the ability to balance a engaged and disengaged comp. I think that they also have the recipe for disaster, like, also in that mix, where they just totally, like, whip everything because everybody is doing too many different things at once that are just, like, bleeding over on top of each other.
Yeah, the big question for me, and hopefully we're going to have it answered soon as we get into the actual in-client pick ban, we'll let you know when things are locked in. Where are all of these champions going? Because we can talk about the comp as a whole, where they are 5 versus 5, but talking about actual lane matchups, like, who's going into Shyvana? Who's matching into Orianna? Who's gonna try and, like, deal with the Jarvan? There's a lot of potential mismatch here. We don't actually know where everyone is going yet.
All I'm gonna say is that if it's Vayne top, like, it is either going to be the most incredible, like, experience for the Vayne. Oh, wait, based on what the in-game pick, like, champion selection is, it does look like the Vayne top. And all I'm saying is, like, if the Vayne is unable to, like, hard stomp the lane early enough before Shyvana really gets rolling, it is going to be a bad time.
Yeah, Vayne top is very much a feast or a famine pick. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Angry Present, who is going to be on the Amumu this game, up there a lot, which means it is going to be the Ashe Gragas bottom lane, which is... it is a bottom lane. It is a set of choices that they made for the bottom lane. There's, like we were talking about with Ashe Amumu, there's still a lot of setup that Ashe has for the Gragas, and Gragas has a good amount of crowd control that can help set up Ashe with the Crystal Arrow and make sure that she has a frontliner to keep her safe. What worries me is the matchup into Sivir Renata, because there's a lot of disengage and counter-engage with those two champions.
Yes. Additionally speaking, there's some serious auto-attackers on the side of DZG. So a well-placed Renata ulti is going to just decimate everybody, especially if there's Borks being built one way or the other.
Yeah, Vayne, Ashe, Diana, all auto-attacking each other instead of the enemy team. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Cleanser 2 or a QSS out of everyone. It's looking like a good setup, and as we wait for the countdown for our loading screen, I want to give you guys a little note about our partnerships that we have tonight. Our first one tonight, we do have our wonderful partnership with Dubby. Dubby is an energy drink that can... I had a thought in my head and I've completely lost it, so I'm going to go off the... Dubby is an energy drink source that is a little bit better than things like G Fuel, Gamer Subs, things of that nature, where it feels a little bit better for you when you're actually having it. If you use the code DZGWIN when you go and shop, you can get 10% off of your entire purchase, including a starter pack that has a shaker and 3 sample flavors. So if you guys want to check out the website and the chat that I'm hoping is there, it looks like it is beautiful, go and check it out, and it would help us out a lot.
I think you're also forgetting about one of our other sponsors.
We do have our second sponsor tonight, which is Metafy. Metafy is a coaching establishment that has helped with coaching with games like Valorant, Rocket League, League of Legends, among a couple of other smaller games. Coaches will vary from individual coach to coach, some having free intro sessions, either live coaching or VOD reviews, and if you use the link in chat below, you can get $10 of credit after completing your first booking, and you can start your climb to where you want to be today.
calm before the storm. Things aren't as they were before. You best start bracing. Did you think you could keep us out? Shut the gates, forget us now. It's hard to change it. Can you hear the sound? Can't stop us now. We're not back in town, know what we're doing. Things are about to change, it's evolution. Voices shake the ground, you feel it moving. We're the revolution. Can you hear the sound? With the ground beneath your feet, with a whisper in the trees. Do you feel us watching? Hunger in our eyes, victories on our minds. It's our time to rise. Can you hear the sound? Can't stop us now. We're not back in town, know what we're doing. Things are about to change, it's evolution. Voices shake the ground, you feel it moving. We're the revolution. Can you hear the sound? We're the revolution. We're not back in town, know what we're doing. Things are about to change, it's evolution. Voices shake the ground, you feel it moving. We're the revolution. Just like
Welcome back, everybody. We are getting into Game 1 of Dreadnought Frost versus DZG Elysium. It looks like we're having a fairly standard 5-point start, but after a really interesting draft, I'm excited to see where this game starts off.
You know what I'm excited to not see?
What are you excited to not see?
I'm really excited not to see any cleanses in this game.
Yeah, we were talking about it a bit during the draft, but just like the fact of like how much CC and important CC there is for both of these teams. The fact that nobody on either side has opted for cleanse, I think is kind of insane.
It does blow my mind a little bit because, especially for Dreadnought not taking cleanse, at least on like Sivir, like I know she has the spell shield, but if she misses that spell shield, she's definitely done so. Plus, there's a bunch of other CC that if layered properly, there's no way the Sivir is going to get out of it. It's impossible.
Angry President is just waiting here, and Dreadnought was waiting to collapse if he tried to come up and ward that Tri-Brush, but he was playing safe, so there is not going to be any sort of action in the early game. Just wards going down, vision being traded. Everybody should have a decent idea of where both sides are starting. No huge skirmishes happening just yet.
Yeah, I mean, like, typically for my mindset, when I'm playing, like, a Mumu, the last thing you really want to do, like, unless, like, you feel really confident in your ability to win an early 5v5, is to go ahead and just play it safe. Be the scared little, like, you know, mummy.
I'm not sure if Riot's ever actually clarified whether Amumu is a Yordle or not. I think he is. I don't know if they've ever hard confirmed it. Amumu's just been, like, missing from the lore for such a long time.
I mean,
Just my puppy boy, bring him back.
You could be Shaco and like just straight up not have had any lore changes. So like basically your lore has been out of date for like 7 years, if not more.
Shaco, Rammus, Amumu. There's a few others, but they're so long forgotten that we can't even think about them here.
Yeah, correct. That was quite the ambitious.
An ambitious dash forward from Symphonic. I don't think they maybe just trying to get a little pressure on, show them how aggressive that they're going to be. ICG, yeah, top lane, just auto attacking.
It was definitely like a assertion of authority, like definitely showing them who's boss.
CB Cooper has made his way down here very early, just getting that blue buff into red buff into bottom side gank. But nice ward placement from the DZG bottom lane means that the gank will not come through. Nicely done.
Well, this time they did find DB Cooper. He didn't get away this time. He was spotted immediately.
No. This is discount DB Cooper. This is CB Cooper.
Yeah, that's why he got caught.
Yeah, we got DB Cooper off of Wish.
Yeah.
But Wish is going on the bottom side. I think that means Amumu is going to grab the top side scuttle for sure. I think that ward just around the corner did spot Amumu. So I don't think any sort of mid lane gank.
It's been really hard trying to be a jungler these days and trying to keep in track of all of like the really wonky places people are placing visions these days. Like the other day, I just swept like in just the most random spot because I was like, dude, how do they know that I'm coming? And it was like in off the wall in my own jungle in some random spot. I was like, yep, I don't get it.
Peacemaker wants to find an engage here. Nice handshake onto Hello. Gets a little bit of a chunk into this Ashe, but Ashe has the health potion, so it's okay. But Angry Present wants to find the engage in mid lane, waiting on the second Q, doesn't find it over the wall, but Chitin wants to take an ambitious trade into Young Nats. Just get the Electrocute proc off. I don't hate looking for that one. Just trying to get as much damage in this matchup as he possibly can.
Yeah, I definitely think that was a worthwhile trade for DZG. Like, forcing the Ori to use some of her potions, like, as fast as possible is definitely going to work out. The only issue is that she'll just back and she has biscuits, so it's not going to be nearly as detrimental as it will be for the Diana.
Yeah, these Electrocute procs are really starting to hurt, though. Chitin is looking a little low on mana, but Young Nats has chewed through every single one of his potions and his biscuits. Going to be out of biscuit until the 6-minute mark, so despite being down at CS, Chitin not feeling too uncomfortable in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just the unfortunate thing for this matchup. It's range versus melee. So obviously you're going to be down at least some extent on CS, unless you want to get poked beyond belief.
Yeah, it's melee versus Orianna, which is just melee versus range, but exacerbated to its, like, highest degree.
Exactly. Well, you could be Diana playing into Cassiopeia.
Somehow that manages to be worse, only because Cassio has that grounding ability.
Correct.
But yeah, very quiet early game. No huge lead coming out for either side. The gold lead staying within 1 to 200 just based on CS. I'm waiting for some action. I want to see Amumu come into a lane and just throw some bandages at people.
Yeah, no, definitely some bandage tosses need to be thrown out. But I think at this point, there's not been enough like of a opportunity by either side. Whether it be because of vision or lane state, it's kind of hard for the junglers to make a really big impact right now.
Yeah, but thankfully it is going slightly in favor of the DZG jungler because he has a very slight 10 to 11 CS lead on in the jungle. And while CB Cooper did get spotted on his way into this bottom side, the DZG bot lane should know that he's there. I don't know if they still know, but they should have a decent idea of where he was and if he's left or not.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be...
Oh, wants to make something happen. There's the Flag and Dragon Ice Flash away from DZG. Hello is going to make sure that he survives it, taking the flash away from No Name as well. Burned his own heal, but that's a 2-for-1 summoner trade. That's not bad for either side.
No, I think that Symphonic did a good job trying to create space for Hello, because if not, I definitely think Hello would have died in that situation.
Angry Present potentially is going to get collapsed on here. Chitin does have level 6, has the Moonfall available if they want to try and make something happen here in the 2 versus 3, but it looks like they are just going to walk away. Don't want to get caught with their hand too far in the cookie jar.
I think if Angry had 6 at that moment, I think that would definitely would have been a 1 position for DZG. But at the same time, definitely the right call. I almost think that the Diana should have left the minion up for Angry so he could queue away just to be on the safe side, but it ended up working out perfectly.
Yeah, we're seeing the electrocute trades in mid lane again and again. Chitin just confidently dashing into Young Nats. There's the Moonfall, plus the Ignite immediately flashed away by Young Nats. Respecting that. The Shockwave comes through though. CB Cooper is here. Flash forward for the Flagon Drag, but a nice flash in response by Chitin.
Oh.
Anger Present is here, but the bandage toss goes a little wide. He's got the second one in inventory. Flash just bandage toss, curse the sad mommy. Looking for the damage onto Young Nats, trying to finish off that last kill. Tick, tick, tick the tears. Looking for it. CB Cooper is gonna give his life to save his mid laner. What a hero jungler. First blood goes over to the Amumu. Chitin trying to get the last bit of the shields, doesn't get the proc, but Wolf can't find the last hit to get the kill there. Maybe looking to try and get the fireball under tower, or just trying to get the wave shoved in. That is a 1-for-0 in favor of Elysium.
Ooh, could be a 2-for-0 here in a second.
Ooh, Peacemaker, maybe a bit out of position. Anger Present is starting to rotate over, but it's maybe taking his sweet time with it. Really wants that minion wave. Peacemaker does have flash. We'll probably just have to use it over the wall. Yep, bandage toss was going to connect. That's a good flash for us.
It's almost like you're psychic. You called it like right before it happened.
I can watch when I see when they're standing next to the wall as opposed to walking in a certain direction. Potentially, if Peacemaker had dodged out the bandage toss, didn't need to flash, but better to just burn your flash and be safe than not burn it and die.
Yeah, I will say this. I am also a little bit disappointed by the Vayne right now. I mean, the CS is even enough, and like the Shyvana was able to roam mid to try and at least make an attempt to get a kill.
Yeah, the fact that Shyvana got to roam and is not behind in CS right now is kind of a miracle for the Shyvana lane. I guess ICGE doesn't have a ton of pressure just yet, only sitting on those tier 2 boots and the Cull. So once Vayne starts getting the pieces of the Blade of the Rune King in inventory, it will be a lot harder for Wolf to navigate this lane.
Yeah, I think right now it's going to be kind of a snore fest, because what do you do? Like, both teams are playing at least conservatively enough that I think there's nothing to really do. At least, I will say that DZG is trying to be at least a little proactive, because at this point, I kind of expect that, you know... Oh.
I can drag. CB Cooper gets the Cataclysm down, looking for the engage onto Chitin. Nice handshake away. The Moonfall's only going to find 2, but Chitin will fall. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to land onto the mid laner, Young Nats. Symphonic trying to run away. Anger President is looking for the turnaround. ICG has rotated down. He's got the final hour on. There's the hostile takeover. Nicely placed by Peacemaker. It's going to pick up Symphonic, but ICG is starting to scale up. Has the lethal tempo step, but a nice handshake. Peacemaker again, making sure that his team can stay safe in these fights, but now Wolf has rotated up. Nice condemn into the wall. ICG has the lethal tempo stacked, has the ghost on, but is just going to walk away from that play.
I think the Vayne definitely, in all, not worth for DZG, you know, because you obviously lost that encounter. The Ashe is able to pick up, like, a solo play, and you just got 2 kills onto the Vayne. Like, that's not the worst possible outcome.
Yeah, I think the fact that Ashe was able to still have some impact in that fight, as well as get a small CS lead and a plate in inventory in the bottom side, means that the play is okay, especially given that all of the kills went over to Renata in that exchange because of the hostile takeover. That's the only real disadvantage of that ability. Like, if your opponents kill each other during the hostile takeover, the kill gold goes over to Renata, which, you know, supports getting gold is not terrible, but it's certainly not the carries that you want to have the gold on your team.
Additionally, I think that despite the fact that how good of the Renata ulti was, had the Vayne been quite literally like a couple like steps to the like the left, she would have destroyed the entire backline of Dreadnought.
Yeah, good positioning. Good positioning from the Renata ulti means that there is the engage to be found. Speaking of engages, Symphonic gets the flash body slam to try and find it, but doesn't have the ulti to throw just yet. Has it, but just didn't decide to throw it. The On the Hunt is popped, so No Name is going to get his team out of there. But that felt like a bit of a weird, bit of a mismanaged engage from DZG.
100%. I mean, for the fact that you use the flash E, it's kind of like, well, dang, you should have got something out of it at least.
Yeah, the Flash E plus the Ashe ulti both used for the attempt on that engage, but it seemed like the team wasn't really fully there to commit to it.
I think it's just a DZG thing. We have a big commitment issue problem.
Everyone deals with commitment issues in their time, and it's okay, and everyone will find themselves and get their way through it. It'll all be fine. CB Cooper, again, showing on the bottom side, but again, good warding from the DZG bot lane means that they're not going to get caught out by it. CB Cooper has been spending actually a lot of time trying to influence this bottom lane.
So the unfortunate thing for CB Cooper in this situation is that he is trying to be a very high-tempo jungler right now, and despite the fact that it's going okay with him being 0-2 and 3, the Amumu is 1-1 and 3.
Engage the Cataclysm, finds 2, but a nice flash away from Hello means that he will stay safe. Symphonic might die in trade. CB Cooper flashes forward. The Ashe arrow is there, but CB Cooper finds the drag to make sure that it gets the kill down. There's the hostile takeover. It finds Chitin to deny the engage. Beautifully placed. Chitin tried to flash into, but it's still gonna find 2. Chitin looking to make the play happen. Gets the kill onto Peacemaker, but now he's stuck in a 1 versus 3 scenario. The Shockwave knocks him back, looking for the kill into CB Cooper, but the healing and the shielding is too much. Cooper's gonna survive.
Utter catastrophe. Utter catastrophe. It was looking so good, and I honestly thought that DZG was gonna like try to position as far away from that wall as possible in order to like be safe. And it looked like they were doing a good enough job, but I guess the Jarvan decided that the Gragas had stepped up just enough for it to make it worth his while, and it worked out.
Yeah, the Cataclysm was really nicely placed too. It caught Hello and Symphonic in it, which meant that Hello did have to flash away. And that's when you're ganking an AD carry that has flash and you're playing Jarvan, that's really the most you can hope for. Okay, I'm gonna Cataclysm, burn the flash, I'll come back down when I have my ulti back up, and then we'll kill him. But the fact that they got 2 kills out of that play anyway, I think is a really good result for Dreadnought.
Oh, 100%. And I think that the unfortunate thing is that the Renata ulti stopped the Diana when it would have definitely been a 3-man like ult, and could have at least made it worth like better for DZG. But the unfortunate E timing of that totally ruined it.
Yeah, I think Chitin was actually expecting the hostile takeover to be on the Hello instead of on himself. So I really like the fact that Chitin was willing to go for it, but it was a really nice pseudo outplay from Peacemaker to say, hey, my ulti's gonna screw up your engage. It's gonna mess up how you try to get into this fight. So I'm just gonna drop it on you and make you walk away from our team.
Yeah, I don't know if I've noticed the Ashe really having her E up enough to actually scout the Jarvan either. I don't know if she's been using it consistently, and I just haven't noticed. But I definitely think that needs to be held, at least for one stack, whenever they're sniffing something out a little bit from the side of Dreadnought.
Yeah, Ashe is one of those abilities when it's like when it's a mediocre to okay Ashe player, you see it and you're like, okay, they're scouting out the jungle pretty much on cooldown. That makes sense. They're getting information for their team. But like, what separates the good from the great Ashe players is when they're like, they know when to hold the E, when they're looking for the right information, and when they need to use it.
Yeah, the only good thing right now for DZG, or at least inside of the bot lane, is the fact that the Sivir is still 0-1 and 6. Like, but I am a little disappointed by the Ashe not having more CS, considering she was by herself in the lane for as long as she was.
Oh, Chitin wants the engage, but Wolf is here to punish. Angry Present is here for the return. The Vanish Toss is not going to find anybody. Maybe now looking for a 2 versus 3. Angry Present gets shockwaved in, has to flash wave out. Wolf holding onto the Dragon's Descent, maybe looking for some kind of engage, but doesn't want to go under the tower, so they are just going to walk away from that one. No Name pops the On the Hunt to try and get into the fight, but it was just too disengaged already.
I will give credit to Dreadnought Frost for these very good roams. Like, they feel well-timed, they feel like they're actually getting something out of each one. And even if it is marginal, like a flash or something like that, they are getting something.
Yeah, and speaking of getting something, I think that play on the mid lane is going to guarantee them this Infernal Dragon. Angry Present is going to get spotted by a Wolf and a little bit of engaged on, but this is an Amumu. He's just fairly tanky. I don't think there's going to be too much else happening right there.
Hopefully not another fatal flash.
Oh,
Oh, there might be.
Crystal Arrow, ICGE pops the final hour. He wants to get in there. Flashes forward, but again, a great hostile takeover from Peacemaker trying to deny it. He's got the bailout on himself. ICGE is going to live for just long enough so the bailout doesn't come through. The Cataclysm comes through, finally gets shut down, but there's the two-man Moonfall. Beautifully set up by Symphonic with the barrel toss. It's a double kill for Hello, and that's the turn that DZG was looking for.
It was, I will say, I was a little concerned about the Gragas ulti at first, because I thought it was going to throw them away, but it actually ended up being very pretty by, like, Gragas ulting them into the Diana.
Yeah, perfectly set them up, standing right next to each other. Diana hits the Moonfall. Really nicely set up by Symphonic. We were worried about the potential anti-synergy that those two have, but it seems like they've got it on lock.
Oh, yeah. If I know Symphonic as well as I do, he's got it down. I know it.
And it looks like Hello is going to potentially try and just get this bottom lane tower while he's got the time, but with Peacemaker showing up and No Name not too far behind, or at least out of vision so Hello can't see it, he's going to be forced to walk away.
Yeah, he definitely said goodbye at this point in time. He didn't want to stick around for any misfortune.
That was terrible.
I know it was.
Well, anyway, as we get to around the 18-minute mark, it is DZG holding on to around a 2,000 gold lead. The Dragon lead is in favor of Dreadnought, though, and as we get our Hextech Rift, if they can get to an early Hextech Soul, that's a potential win condition for this Dreadnought Frost comp.
Yeah, having the Shyvana already having 2 dragons for her passive is a super plus right now. Especially because if you look at it, she is CSing relatively well, has the most CS in the game right now. But overall, there is just a gold lead in the favor of DZG, despite it being pretty insignificant.
Yeah, 2,000 at this point in the game is something where you say, okay, this team's ahead, but they're not, like, hard winning the game. There's no way of comeback. This is the kind of lead where it's like, okay, they're ahead. Let's see if they can advance this lead, or let's see if the other side can stem the bleeding, can stop the lead from advancing.
The other benefit right now to be for DZG, and I definitely respect the position that they're in right now, is that they do have the better late game. The Shyvana is going to be good no matter what, but right now she has no gold she has no kill gold in her right now. And most of the gold is concentrated in the Renata and J4 alongside the Orianna. But the J4 only has 82 CS right now at 20 minutes.
Titan baits out the spell shield beautifully for the two-man Moonfall, flashes forward into No Name, but the crit comes through from No Name, executes the Diana onto tower.
That is one of those bad situations where the crit just isn't in your favor. You know, it's unlucky.
Yeah, that was, I feel like a bit of an overforce from Chitin. I don't hate the play that they were going for if they can get the 1-for-1 there. That ends up being really nice. They baited out the spell shield really well, but it just ended up being not favorable. The teleport came through for Young Nuts. Peacemaker was down there as well. It was just not the play that needed to be made.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a over-pushing the wave kind of scenario where the Diana didn't need to be there in the first place. At this point, you should have just stepped back in order to be in a safer position. Especially without having the appropriate vision in the bot side jungle.
Herald Charge is not going to be denied, but the tower will live on a sliver of HP. Someone just needs to go sneeze on that and it will fall over. Just a bit of extra cold waiting.
Could you say it lived with a sliver of HP? That one was good. You can't tell me that one wasn't good.
Okay, I'll give you that one. It was all right. You get points for trying. Yeah, just looking across the board right now, ICGE has hit the 2-item power spike on this Vayne. The shield build plus the Ginsu's, it's not the most insane power spike, but 2 items for any 80 carry is a scary one, and especially Vayne getting the Silverbolt procs every 2 autos instead of every 3 can be a really big deal.
Oh yeah, there's something to be said about a Vayne who is like almost like is quite literally melting all of your tanks.
Yeah, the only real issue I can see is that hostile takeover. Peacemaker has been on top of them this game, and if ICGE isn't positioning properly, doesn't have a cleanse, doesn't have a QSS, he could start shredding his own tanks, or even his own squishies, instead of the enemy teams.
So it's moments like this that I have to give a lot of credit to Dreadnought. Because they understood that they had a vision vision control of this Baron and could start this.
Yeah, it gets spotted out, but I think it's too late. Baron's already down to 2k. It's just gone. Really nicely traded by Dreadnought. They knew that the vision control wasn't there for them in the Dragon Pit, so they said, hey, enemy team's going to go to Dragon. Let's just take Baron, and that's a 22-minute Baron for him.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have done the Baron then, only for the fact that I think the Soul Point is a lot more threatening. At least that way you have a little bit more of a buffer between you and your opponent's Drakes. But, hey, if they can actually get good Baron usage here, it could turn the tide of this game.
Yeah, it is worth noting that Dreadnought Frost has insane wave clear potential with the Orianna, with the Sivir, even with Shyvana to a certain extent. If she can go up and hit the wave, she clears it out pretty quick. So the pushing power, angry present, gets in the CC Slayer beautifully onto the No Name, but No Name has the bailout. Diz gonna get shut down though. ICGE is gonna shut down his own AD carry though. There's the hostile takeover we were talking about. Chitin got the Moonfall on the backline, but just no kills coming through off the back of it. But a nicely played fight turns out to be a 1-for-1 overall.
It definitely is still better though once you look at the HP of DZG. They quite literally are forced to reset here for the most part. Like as much as they're positioning for this tower, they can't save it.
Yeah, this inner tower is gone. The inhibitor tower is the next to be threatened. Potentially the members can get back in time to save it. I wouldn't be surprised if Dreadnought just rotates down to the bottom lane, starts to threaten that inner tower once they, you know,
yeah, they're just gonna go sneeze
at the next tower.
Yeah, they're just gonna go sneeze bot lane.
Yeah, they should be able to pick up that tower just fine. Something you pointed out earlier, but yeah, Wolf farming incredibly well this game, alongside Young Knots, both of them farming really efficiently, both of them close to that 10 CS a minute mark. He just dashes forward, dunks the tower.
I think that he was definitely waiting for the wave to come in. I think he took a look at the tower and was like, you know what? Whatever.
Yeah, this inner tower should go down. DZG is not in a spot to contest this. They're trying to make sure that just all the other waves aren't in a position to get shoved in so they don't lose anything else. It's an inner tower. It's on the bottom side of the map. It's not the highest value target to lose.
No, especially with all these Baron waves, like the Baron, that's wear off. I think the damage is mostly done. Swinging the 2k gold lead in the favor of Dreadnought for Ost. And it's just, it could be a lot worse for DZG, but it could be a lot better. But, like you said, their wave clear isn't as good as Dreadnought's, so the ability to defend against those Baron-empowered minions just wasn't quite there.
Yeah, you really have to, like, Amumu and Diana have to walk into the wave to clear it, and if you're walking into the wave, you're walking into range of Orianna, of Sivir, of Shyvana, and it's a really dangerous spot to be. Oh, Chitin, I don't think that's where you want to be. He's gonna get collapsed on. CV Cooper has found him out. A nice flash away, but the Cataclysm is there. There's the Dragon's Descent to just make sure Chitin stays locked up. A nice two-man Moonfall combined with the shield. He's staying alive for a lot longer than he has. And you're right, too. The bird is finally gonna take him down. Wolf picks up that one, but Angry Present wants to find his way in. The Curse of the Sad Mummy is not gonna find too many targets, but Peacemaker gets knocked back beautifully by the barrel toss. Symphonic again, setting up his team for success. But the fight's not over just yet. No Name maybe has walked too far forward. Flash is burned and Flash away. Symphonic trading flashes there. The slow from Hello, just a little bit too threatening.
I was not expecting that outcome, particularly from that, at all. Great rotation and response by the side of DZG.
Yeah, that could have definitely ended up a lot worse. The fact that Chitin lived for as long as he did, got the two-man Moonfall off, was able to set up the Ashe ult just to make sure that the team had time to collapse and get back in. Really nicely played by them.
Yeah, the Vayne actually did a really good job avoiding the Renata ulti. So that way, she didn't just destroy the rest of her team in this situation, like that happened before in the mid lane.
Yeah, I know Vayne is going to build work next because it's Vayne and that's what they do. I'm just really praying that there is a QSS somewhere in her future because she needs to be able to position in these fights aggressively. She has to keep her final hour and her ghost on. She has to have them, like, active during these fights. And if you're spending a lot of your time avoiding the giant wave of gas that eased the hostile takeover, you're not getting auto attacks in. You're not getting damage down.
Yeah, I'm equally parts scared for the enemy team as I am for DZG.
Well, it looks like we're going to have a good old-fashioned 5v5 slobber knocker in the Baron pit. Symphonic looking for the engage, but the RBZ Wolf finds it as well, but the Dragon's Descent, DZG, hello, is trying to get in. The Dragon is smited away by CB Cooper, but the engage on the backside is not as good for DZG, but ICGE is auto-attacking. He's looking to get the final hour procs in there, gets a triple kill for himself, picks up the Quadra. Young Knots is not there to give the Penta, but it is 4 for 4 for both sides. A triple kill for Jarvan, and a very messy fight, but the soul point does go over to Dreadnought Frost.
I think it's bad sportsmanship for Young Knots not to stay in that fight for the pentakill.
Yeah, he was full health, full mana. He could have been in that fight more.
Yeah, way to take the coward's way out and not give the Penta over to the very strong Vayne.
Yeah, and you could be something like, oh, saving his shutdown, or oh, making sure he doesn't give unnecessary gold over, but we're here for bloody League of Legends. Give us the Vayne Penta. That's some exciting League.
I will say, I don't feel like I've really enjoyed a day of League of Legends until I've heard Pentakill by the announcer.
Yeah, Pentakill is what you always want to hear, but it was really nicely played by ICGE. Loved his positioning around the Renata ult. He got into the backline. Even though Chitin and Angry Present were engaging a bit early, the fact that they stalled enough time for the Shyvana to be dealt with, for the rest of DZG to get into the fight and position themselves properly, meant that the fight could go as evenly as it did.
Yeah, no, and I think the Rage Blade Vayne definitely made it even. I think without the Vayne, being as fed as she is, this game could be way more in the favor of Dreadnought Frost.
Yeah, and now the Vayne is sitting on 3 items. You can see the armor stacking starting to come through. Oh, No Name pops the on the hunt, looking for the engage. CB Cooper gets his flag and drag flashed away from him. Just getting the auto attacks in onto Angry Present. Hello is trying to stall as much as possible. CB Cooper gets launched into the enemy team, has to flag and drag himself out. Angry Present wants to find the engage, finds the bandage toss into the Amumu ulti, but there's a beautiful cataclysm with the hostile takeover. Oh my god, it's a massacre. ICG is trying to salvage this fight in any way possible. Chitin is finally here, but the rest of his team is already dead. A beautiful wombo combo for Dreadnought Frost, and that's gonna be the game.
That was disgusting to watch, and there's no better words to describe it other than disgusting. That was exactly every piece of the puzzle coming together in the exact moment for the wombo combo to win the game.
Yeah, the shockwave and the cataclysm and the hostile takeover, everything lined up beautifully for Dreadnought Frost, and they are going to find themselves a victory in this game 1.
I have to give credit, beyond to them winning the game, and give style.
Potential that DZG had, but it's hard to scale into late game when your AD carriers are both auto-attacking your own team instead of the enemy team.
Definitely an issue as far as drafting 2 ADCs into a Renata Glass. Especially when you have stuff like the Cataclysm, like the Shyvana ulti, that will group champions together.
Yeah, I also want to note though, like in the draft, Renata Glass was drafted last for Dreadnought Frost, but the Vayne was picked into that. They knew that they were playing into Renata, into Jarvan, into Orianna. They knew the kind of wombo combo team style that they were going to be playing against, and they still chose to lock it in. Granted, with a really nice scoreline, 8-2 and 3 is not something you're upset to see, but that's still a loss at the end of the day.
Correct. Yeah, it definitely. Despite the excellent performance by ICGE, a loss is still a loss.
Yeah, your team can look good doing it, but a loss is a loss. Dreadnought Frost is going to take game 1. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for draft of game 2 of Dreadnought Frost versus DZG Elysium. Don't go anywhere.
just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up, babe. Tonight we gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up.
can't stay in my feet. What I'm gonna do if I really want to? But you know, baby, break my mind empty. But you have the key, so open my heart, please, my heart, please. I can't stay in my feet. What I'm gonna do if I really want to? But you know, baby, break my mind, break my mind. So open my heart, please, my mind. So please, my mind. So open my heart, please, my mind. But you know, baby. You know, baby.
We are back after a shockingly quick final fight of the last game. Dreadnought Frost has come out to a lead, handing Elysium their first loss of the entire season. Now we go to game 2, where the draft is already underway, and we're hoping to see if Elysium can make the reverse sweep happen.
I definitely have seen Elysium do it before, and just because they lost that game in that fashion, I definitely don't think that DZG is going to take it down, like, take it laying down, and are definitely going to still have the same fight that they had game 1.
I certainly hope so, because we want to see some exciting League of Legends here. So far, despite the fact that the sides have changed, the draft is looking identical. Ornn and Tristana both taken off the table. The Sivir is taken away by DZG Elysium this time, and I can't disagree with it. It looked really good last game.
It looked good. I think that the ulti alone was what helped in such a fashion that won CBR oh my god, Dreadnought Frost. See, having these names flipped the way that they are right now, I was like, why am I saying CBR? I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah, so DZG has totally changed up. Dreadnought Frost has totally kept the same bands, but DZG has swapped out the band phase a little bit, only keeping the Tristana the same. But now they're going to be first picking the Swain. And while we've got the time, as we watch the Victor get counter pick locked in, because that's what you expect, Control Mage and Control Mage, it is worth noting that the roster for Dreadnought Frost did swap around. They've got their main AD carry back in. Places are going to swap around a bit, but the names are mostly the same.
Interesting. You know, I have seen where teams have swapped out for their main roster, and the sub was actually better than the starter. So I am curious. You know, I'm hoping for the interest of DZG that is the case, but who knows?
Well, I mean, the sub roster looked good. Peacemaker, I think, was really the glue that held it all together, and he's not changing positions, so we'll have to see if he can have as influential a performance as he did last game. But now we've got the Victor and the Jarvan locked in. Not exactly Orianna Jarvan, kind of wombo combo, but still Cataclysm plus a Chaos Storm. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Oh, no. Definitely still a real threat.
The Zeri is going to be picked next alongside that Swain. Swain does have the possibility of being moved into that bottom lane as a support. It's definitely not his best position anymore, but he's still viable enough to be run there. So it's still flexible, and they can still move that one around. But Zeri is not a champion we've been seeing too much of recently, after she's been hit with a couple round of nerfs at this point.
He definitely is still good, but is nowhere near the full-on menace. But speaking of full-on menaces, we are seeing the Renata locked in, but for this time, for the side of DZG.
Yeah, I like that not only as a pick away from Peacemaker, because it looked like it's an obvious comfort pick for him, but also as a pairing with Zeri. The bailout drugs plus Zeri's just innate movement speed and ability to zoom around in a fight. I think it's a really good combo.
Yeah, plus not dying so long as you get a kill is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it turns out that revive abilities in League of Legends, pretty good. Jhin is going to be the AD carry pick into the Zeri. I don't hate this matchup for Jhin. I think this is a fine counter pick. Jhin has the ability to take shorter trades into Zeri, which is not what she wants to do. Just get that fourth shot and start sprinting away, depending on what sort of support you're paired up with.
Yeah, I mean, Jhin just right now in general is just really strong, and if he were to get ahead, I don't think he would have an issue trying to deal with the Zeri or the Renata.
Yeah, it's just going to be a matter of getting that bot lane ahead. I mean, we saw all of the pressure that CB Cooper was able to put on the bot lane last game. We'll have to see if he can have that same sort of influence going into this game, or if DZG can play around it a bit better. As we get into our second round of bans, we got the Amumu taken away from Angry Present this time. Not going to be seeing him on that. And the Gwen banned again, protecting that top side. In the meantime, DZG has taken away the Olaf.
Yeah, I mean, Olaf here, would definitely be a good jungler to pick, just to avoid a lot of the CC that they're expecting. And so taking it away from Dreadnought is not a bad idea.
I may even say that he's a good top laner to pick into a lot of CC as well, as the Jarvan's already locked in.
Yes.
And with the Fiora locked in as well, it seems like DZG wants to have a less volatile top lane matchup than we saw last time with the Vayne versus the Shyvana. With the fighters being banned away, I'm curious to see what Dreadnought will lock in for their top side, but they are going to pair the Jhin with a Nami, of all things.
I mean, the damage boosts from the Nami are serious enough that they shouldn't be, like, looked down upon, especially when you consider how powerful Force Shot is at times.
Yeah, most of the time we're seeing Nami paired up with Lucian, who has gone unseen in this pick ban. Nami Lucian seems to be the current power, like, win lane, win game pairing in the bottom side. So to see Nami without Lucian is a little interesting. We'll have to see how good of a pairing she can have with the Jhin into the Zeri Renata. The Sejuani is looking like what's going to be for the potential top laner jungler as we wait for the last lock-in from DZG.
The other thing to consider, though, the Nami has the ability, like, so if Renata is going to ult, the Nami can just ult back and at least prevent some of the follow-up engage that would come from the side of DZG.
Yeah, and speaking of follow-up engage, Sejuani and Viego are both going to be locked in, so that is going to be Sejuani in the top side. And both of these champions have a really good ability to thrive in chaotic team fights. Viego especially, if you can give him one reset, he can take a fight away.
Yeah, and I think that this is just... I think that it's going to be best for the Viego to play towards that top side just to get the most out of the Sejuani passive and grant himself a snowball's chance to be an absolute menace on the Rift.
Yeah, the fact that Sejuani and Viego are both the only melees on this team gives me a little bit of concern, as the top lane matchup is the Sejuani versus the Camille. Camille has a pretty favorable matchup into tanks. Divine Sunderer got shifted around a little bit. It's still very good into tanky champions, but less good than it used to be.
Yeah, it's still definitely the go-to for a lot of champions, but yeah, like you said, nowhere near the super damaged and cost-efficient weapon that it used to be.
Yeah, into Sejuani is probably still good to be built, but we'll have to see. For the most part, both of these drafts are what I would say is much more standard. Very, like, just regular League of Legends. Control mage in the mid lane, hyper carry in the bot side, tank in the top lane from one side, fighter for the other, fighters in the jungle, and enchanter / utility supports.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more of a formal comp than what we saw last game from the side of DZG.
Yeah, I don't think I can't say I really dislike either of these comps. I think they're both really good. My question to you is, if you take the nameplates off and you're just looking at the champions that are picked and the positions they're going into, is there a draft that you think is winning or one that is favorable?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think based off of the champions, I think that DZG does have a benefit because of just how strong Swain is right now. Renata, if the Renata is executed properly into their comp, granted, it's not as melee oriented as DZG's was last game, but it's a good Renata ult is a good Renata ult. Plus, there's just a lot of lockdown. I do like Dreadnought Frost's like draft. I just prefer DZG's more because of the ability of Zeri, Swain, as well as Viego to just be a menace in general.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential things happening, but as we get to the client lock-in, I just want to point out that Zeri is in the mid lane slot. So okay. I guess it's actually Swain Renata bot lane if they do end up locking that one in.
Interesting.
Yeah, we were talking about how Renata plus Zeri is like, oh yeah, you get the bailout, you get the attack speed and the movement speed. The attack speed doesn't exactly matter too much for Swain, but the movement speed, Swain really enjoys. So I'm not hating it. I don't think it's bad.
I don't hate it. I don't love it though. Like it's just like it's different. It's different. It's like when you have like white bread and then you do like something else, like not wheat because wheat sucks, but you get what I'm saying though.
You go from like Wonder Bread, white bread to like French bread or sourdough. It's different. It's similar, but it's not the same.
Exactly. I'm glad that you were there to fill in my really terrible analogy.
Look, I can make any analogy work. But I do think that the Swain Renata actually has a better matchup into Jinami than Zeri Renata does. Weirdly enough, just because of, like you were talking about how strong Swain is in general on this patch. He has a couple of builds, but all of them really have one thing in common, and that is Rylai's Crystal Scepter. The ability to have that slow on your ultimate, applying it to everybody on the enemy team, getting all of that healing in, keeping everybody locked down, whether it's matched up with Liandry's or Imperial Mandate, or whatever mythic you want to throw in there. You could do something like Riftmaker if you really wanted to be a little cheesy. Swain will make it work. As long as you have Rylai's to give yourself that AoE zone control, you're good.
Yeah. The other thing to consider too is that Bizeri is going to be getting solo XP and gold, which is going to at least push her to that threat level faster than which she would be if she was in the bot lane.
Yeah, I do think it's an interesting draft setup at the very least. I can't say I'm like 100% surprised about it, but I am excited to see how they match up in the bot lane.
Yes, I have high hopes, but you know, it's one thing to hope. You know, it's like that really bad saying of like you poop in one hand and hope in the other. You know the one?
I can't say I've ever heard that one before. That is a new one to me.
Oh no! And so it goes like, you know, you poop in one hand and hope in the other, and you see which one fills up first. You know, that's what it is.
You know, I think on that note, we're going to take it to a break. We'll be back once the spectator delay is knocked out. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll be right back.
We've got the melody to set us free, singing destiny. We've got the melody to set us free, singing destiny. My heart's like stars, guiding us through the dark. We've got the melody to set us free, singing destiny. We've got the melody to set
Welcome back, everybody. We are now in game of Game 2 versus DZG Elysium versus Dreadnought Frost. Last game, Dreadnought Frost handed Elysium their first loss of the entire regular split, and now Elysium is looking to punch back in successive fashion.
You know, every time that we go away for a little while, I miss you even more, Brittany.
Well, I mean, I'm still right here. They can't hear us, but I'm here with
but
you.
they don't know that. They don't know that we talk more when we go away.
Look, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Anger Present did get spotted there. CB Cooper dropped the flag on him, so they do have pretty good information about where he is. And you'll notice on the side of Dreadnought Frost, the names have changed places around. Sean has swapped in, Wolf has gone out, but the names are mostly the same. What's interesting to me is how much positional changes they've made with that substitution.
Yeah, the way that things are going to be playing out is going to be a little different than it was before. I mean, I'm excited to see some, change is never a bad thing. I'm sure that they know what they're doing.
Yeah, something that I talked about a little bit in the loading screen, while our friends in the audience couldn't see us, but something I want to talk about here on the stream is the fact that Chitin is going for the W Zeri build. He has First Strike, he has Teleport, he's not going to be building these normal 80 carry items, he's really just looking to play around one-shotting people with that W.
It worries me when I see Ego plays like that, because I'm like, dude, I really hope you one-shot somebody, because if not, it's not going to be great.
Yeah, AP Zeri does really have that one shtick where she gets the right click, she gets the W, and she gets the R, but once she uses that burst, she doesn't have much else. It's not like 80 carry Zeri where it starts low and ramps up over the fight. You get your burst, and then you're just not much more useful.
Man, say 80 carry Zeri 5 times fast.
I could, but I don't need to prove it to you. We've got a bit of a fight in the bot side. Sean, happy to be back in the bot lane, happy to be here for his team. Getting into early level 2. This Jhin Nami lane did take Exhaust Ignite, so they are playing a bit more aggressive in this early laning phase, trying to be the lane dominant pairing.
Yeah, I was hoping to see a little bit of like a skerfuffle between the Viego and the J4, but both members decided just to play back.
Yeah, look at this early rotate from Peacemaker. He's here with his jungler. CB Cooper has the flag and drag, is waiting to throw it. Does take a tower shot for his trouble. Chitin getting plenty of damage back, but is going to get stunned up. A nice W to land some good damage onto No Name. Like, that ability will do damage. Whether you build AD or AP, it's going to hurt. Anger Present has now made his way in there. Oh. He's got the flash stun. No Name has to flash away as well. Chitin flashes forward to get the W proc. First blood goes to Zeri in the mid lane.
Yeah, I definitely think that was a very well-timed W flash by the Viego for that setup. I almost felt that there was a little bit of miscommunication initially for that setup, but it worked out well for DZG because the Zeri almost took a second to like get started on engaging on the Jesus Christ, why am I forgetting?
Victor, that guy?
Yeah, I don't know why. That was so hard for me.
Sometimes champion names are difficult. There's something that I'm seeing every Viego player still do, even though the interaction got removed, and it makes me so happy that the interaction did get removed. Every Viego player still throws E and then starts charging up W like they're gonna be invisible in the mist. Right? Took that interaction out. Stop doing it. It's not good for you.
If you wouldn't have told me that just now, I probably would have played Viego in like a week and still done that exact thing.
They took that interaction out. Riot said, no, it's a bit too cheeky. It's not exactly what we want to see. A nice bubble from Peacemaker, but it takes a lot of his health bar in retaliation to get the bubble off. We're seeing the damage come through from Hello and Symphonic down here. They have plenty of burst in these shorter trades.
Yeah, it is interesting to me that the DZG bot lane is playing these trades as well as they are. Speaking of trades,
ICG. Oh! Wait! Smacks down Young Knots in the top lane. It's Jwani with the solo bolo.
Yeah, okay, now I can actually make the joke because there was not more fighting. So the Camille was definitely trying to escape there, but ICVE said Knots today.
Nice bubble from Peacemaker into the follow-up route. Addy Sean looking for the damage. The Ignite comes down, but the heal is traded back by Hello. Hello's looking to get a kill out of this. Bailout drugs are on, but CB Cooper has rotated again into mid lane. Nice sidestep by Kite and dashes himself over the wall. Gets the W down for plenty of damage as well. And again, we're seeing CB Cooper put a lot of attention into one lane in particular.
Well, I mean, like, that's kind of one of those things for J4, is that it's kind of easy to, like, though Zeri is less easy to gank in that capacity. I mean, you're playing Jarvan, and you want to spend time trying to be as proactive as possible. And Zeri at least is a better option than trying to deal with the Swain. Granted, I think if they were going to deal with the Swain bot lane, they should have done it sooner, and it seems that they're just not going to commit to that idea.
Yeah, if they're going to let Swain farm up to 6, I don't think Swain is going to be upset with that idea, though Adishan and Peacemaker might be upset a little bit to see Swain just getting to free farm this lane out and come out ahead with a CS lead, actually. 10 CS up down there.
I'm going to be a little hurt by the decision making not to try to deal with this as early as possible.
Yeah, we'll have to see how much of a detriment that ends up being for them in the mid and late game, because Swain, like we were talking about in draft, is one of these monster team fighting champions. You give him 1 or 2 items and he can just run away with the team fight.
Yeah, there's just something about him looking really scary and demonic, and then just like sapping the life out of everyone around them. You know, it's just one of those things where
Cooper's made his way bot lane. DZG, hello, gets caught in the bubble, the flag and drag, the Jin Dudley flourish. Hello's getting plenty of health out of this, though, with the eye plus the pull. He's looking to walk away. There's a bunch of flashes burned. Hello's still gonna fall, but that's 2 flashes traded for 1, and probably the dragon as well.
Yeah, I think CB heard us talking crap and decided just to go for it.
Yeah, I don't hate the gank in the bot lane. DZG was pushing up really aggressively, and CB Cooper had a really nice punish. Titan gets the W on the wall.
That's what you gotta do. I don't know if it was smart for Swain to flash there, because there really was no escape on that long river walk.
Yeah, you're rotating up also into No Name, who can rotate down first into this area. She doesn't have the most wave clear on Earth, so she's not going to have a lot of priority when she's looking to rotate out of her own lane. But we've got a potential dive here. Angry President is rotated up. ICUG with the Glacial Prison and the Heartbreaker. Angry President picks that one up nicely.
Now that there's another kill top lane, will you acknowledge the Knots joke that I made earlier?
Yeah, I'll acknowledge it. It was there. It was a pun that existed. That's all I'll say about it, because I was taught if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Well, I mean, my feelings would be definitely grateful if you complimented my joke.
It was a nice pun. Are you happy now?
I feel flattered.
Well, so far, as we get close to our 10-minute mark, the first Ocean Dragon did go over to Dreadnought Frost, but these kill lead and a small gold lead over to DZG here. We'll have to see if they can continue to advance this lead, as we got Mountain Dragon second. What do we think our soul's going to be this game?
I don't know. I'm gonna say spicy, and I'm gonna say it's a Fire Drake.
Fire Drake is always good. I think we're gonna go back to the Hextech Soul. I think Riot really likes pushing that one, because have you seen the hit show Arcane from Riot Games on Netflix?
Yeah, I did see that show. It's good.
Really good. I love seeing Jinx from Arcane. Did you know Victor from Arcane is in this game?
Oh, dude. I would have never guessed. I wonder if that's like related, or maybe a potential teaser for what will happen in later seasons.
I don't know. You'll have to go watch it on Netflix to find out. Enough shilling for Netflix aside. We are slowing down a bit in this early game. ICGE is looking to play aggressive, but CB Cooper just standing off in the wings, menacingly saying, "Hey, you wanna take that trade? Flashless Sejuani? You wanna look for that? By all means, be my guest."
Yeah, it's one of those things where I have to give credit to ICGE for playing as well as they are on the Shivani right now. It's really good.
Yeah, Sejuani, a little bit of a flavor of the month pick in the top side, but still a very good laner and duelist. Puts out a surprising amount of damage with the stuns, like you just saw there, taking half of Young Nonce's health out with just that auto trade. It's like
Yeah.
it's the same kind of thing as like the Ornn Brittle procs when he gets that clap auto attack. You just like, you don't realize how much damage you're taking until the trade is over and you're like, hey, where'd my health bar go?
Yeah, they're like, ooh, I did not think it was gonna be this bad.
Titan and Angry President have rotated over. Peacemaker has maybe rotated too far, looking for wards. Hand shook into the lightning from Zeri. Donates the kill over.
I wish we had better names on the side of DZG, so that way I could make more puns related to certain things. But you know, Peacemaker. I don't know. I'm not even gonna try. Keep going.
It's too far gone. It's too far gone.
Yeah.
But that was a nice punish from DZG. Getting kills into the Zeri is exactly what this comp needs, because the Zeri is scaling with Man Immune. I have to assume is going to go for the Luden's Tempest next with the Sorcery Boots, just trying to play around getting as much damage off of this W as possible. And I don't hate this build. CB Cooper has found his way in. The Deadly Flourish into the flag, and Dragon Symphonic gets healed. He's got the bailout on top of himself. There's the hostile takeover onto Jarvan, but when there's only your targets, he's gonna auto you! Zello is still surviving with the Demonic Ascension. Deadly Flourish is gonna find him again. There's the final, there's the curtain.
Oh!
But a nice pull from Hello. The Ignite is ticking away. This heal is gonna come through. No! DZG Hello is gonna go down. Angry Present finds Peacemaker. I think he could have looked for more there. There weren't a lot of cooldowns available, but he is just going to be happy taking the one trade back.
I think he hasn't played Nami before, so it took him a second to figure out which button was the bubble.
He didn't know which one exactly was the bubble yet. Chitin looking to get aggressive on No Name, but that is the Victor trade right there. That's what happens when you're at 80 carry and you walk into Victor.
What did you just say that the Viego name was? Because from my understanding, it was just... Get it? Because there is no name, so you don't say anything?
Oh, I don't know if I can be on this desk too much longer. DZG, please just make this a quick 2-1 in your favor. Get me out of here. No Name is looking to get aggressive on Chitin. Peacemaker is here, but yeah, that is Zeri, so she's going to dash over the wall and be pretty safe. Angry Present is here for the support as well, just to make sure nothing bad happens. Looking for the stun again. Forces the flash out of No Name. It's just going to pop the Herald to make sure that he can get a charge out of it pre-14.
Yeah,
actually, I don't even know if they guarantee the charge here.
No, they have to actually push up forward if they're going to be...
Is the eye going to open back up? Yeah, that Herald's gone.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's not great.
Yeah, definitely a misplay in that department, because it definitely wouldn't have hurt to at least get the extra gold in on the Viego. Bad misplay. Maybe I know that you generally want to use it mid, but I don't think that was the right time to use it.
Oh, Peacemaker again is going to get punished for pushing up too aggressively. Angry Present gets caught by the bubble and the tidal wave. So many knockups. Flag and drag as well. The Deadly Flourish is going to find him. No Name has the Chaos Storm channeling. Shutdown is going to go over to CB Cooper, and that's going to be the Mountain Dragon. Again, second Dragon going over to Dreadnought Frost.
While DCG has been able to like consistently get small early leads, Dreadnought Frost has definitely been able to get early dragons.
Yeah, and the early dragons leading into Soul Point and leading into potential Baron trades like we saw in that last game. It's pretty good. And speaking of being pretty good, Hextech Soul. That's another one that's pretty good. One that you really can't give up.
Yeah, for sure. I am upset that you were right again. So...
Like, Riot loves their Arcane TV show. They want to show, even like a year and a half after its release, they want to just show you how much they love it and how good it is. They have to show off the Hex Gates.
I wish we would have still had the Chemdrake. Chemtake Drake?
No, don't bring up that name in this house. How dare you? Chemdragon was a mistake and we don't talk about it.
I honestly think after the initial nerfs, it was a much more balanced dragon.
I don't know, it just always felt like a disaster, and the map was going to be so hard to balance with the lack of, like, vision control that you can have. It makes the game too different. Like, the Hex Gates are a nice addition, and they change how you can rotate on the map, but having entire swaths of the map be now unwardable ends up being a little toxic for a lot of players.
Quite literally.
Yes, literally and figuratively toxic.
Yeah.
Down here again in the bottom lane, is looking for the engage, has the Cataclysm, there it is, the Tidal Wave as well. The Berserk is nicely placed though, nice bailout from Symphonic. Hello is there, he gets the bailout proc, finds the trade in onto Peacemaker. Plenty of health coming in from the Demonic Ascension, but it's not going to be enough. Symphonic gets flashed on 1, 2, 3, 4 bounces from the Dancing Grenade. Is going to find DZG. Hello, and Symphonic. Angry Present is looking to just take this tower before he goes all in on Young Knots, but Young Knots might be able to find ICGE, but no! Heartbreaker gets his heart broken. Take it away.
Oh, a good one. I like it. See, you're learning. You're learning.
Look, ability names are a lot easier than player names. Those ones I can do. But it is a favorable trade overall for, I would say, DRG over the course of this game, as getting these kills onto Jarvan, while it's not the primary target that you want to see, it's still not bad.
It's not bad. Obviously, some kills is better than no kills. I think that because the Jarvan is going tank Jarvan, it's not going to have the same impact as we would be if it was like a damage threat like the Jhin.
Yeah, well, tank junglers are generally like lower econ junglers and ones that don't need as much money to survive. A fed tank is still a very scary prospect simply because it's a lot of tank items that's going to make it really difficult, and who on this DZG team can really tank shred? They don't really have someone who can, like... The Leandry Swain is probably the best they're going to get for actually, like, dealing with tanks, but even then, like, it's not something like Vayne.
The Mana Moon Zeri, that's definitely coming.
Yeah, it's not like a Vayne. It's not like a Kraken Slayer AD carry. It's not someone who's going to be sitting here auto-attacking the tank, getting those 3-hit procs down to get true damage and percent health damage. They don't have that. They have Swain with the Leandries, and that's it. So if CB Cooper can
also have a Divine Sunder Viego.
Viego's other champions most of the time. He's not really Viego that often in a team fight.
Okay, I'll give you credit for that one at least.
He's gonna be Victor more often. He's gonna be Jhin more often.
I don't know, but this Jhin is building a armor shred item, so.
Yeah, he's building Lord Dominic's, which always have to appreciate. I have a personal vendetta against Collector. I think it is a terrible, terrible item, and people should stop building it when they aren't taking advantage of the lethality. But Jhin sometimes can take advantage of that. I just like LDR better because a lot of the time it just gives you more value than the Collector does overall. Yeah, this is the thing with this Zeri build. That is not even with the Mana Mune completed yet. No Ludens yet either. That's just what the build does. You do bursts of 600 damage over walls. If you can play around the walls, you look really good. We're just going to have to see how Chitin can pilot it in fights.
Oh, another one!
He's going in with the ulti lightning crash, but Young Knots is here for the punish, dodges away from the Bola, but the Symphonic finds the hostile takeover to find the kill. ICGE finally takes out, doesn't take him out, just forces him out of the fight. Chitin went down, but now No Name all on his lonesome. Anger Present picks him up. Young Knots gets the trade back onto Symphonic, but he's gonna die himself. There's the 4th shot from Adishan to pick up the kill, but Anger Present is still not touched in this fight. Gale forces away from the Bola from ICGE, but that is a triple kill for the Viego, and that's a potential disaster for DRG here.
Remember when we were talking about somebody who can't, like, because no one can hurt the Fed Jarvan?
Yeah, he looks pretty hurt in that fight, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, exactly. Think about it. The Jarvan tries to ult the Zeri. The Zeri just uses the wall terrain in order to just do a bunch of damage.
He uses the wall terrain to either dash away, because she's a champion that just dashes longer when you have walls, or she just pops W. And we saw the other part of the AP Zeri there in that fight, when she dashed over the wall and got the lightning crash down. It was a lot of burst in AoE. She didn't have much damage after that, but she took out 90% of the health bar of Peacemaker and about half of Addy Sean's. It was a lot of damage.
Yes. I think it was a little bit less than Caitlyn was expecting, but it was still a meaningful amount of damage.
Yeah, and a meaningful amount of damage is exactly what you want to see. Angry Present is going to again pop the Herald in mid lane, but I think this one is going to have the guaranteed charge. It won't take out the tower, won't get plates, but we're happy to see it hit the tower this time.
Yes. You know, you could say that Herald had its eye on mid lane.
I knew it was coming. I was really hoping you weren't gonna go for it, but we're gonna just briskly walk past that one. We're just past the 20-minute mark. 11 kills to 9. It's about, again, a 2,000 gold lead for DZG, and they're feeling comfortable with this lead. Zeri is on 2 items. Viego is on 2 items. Chitin, I don't think this is where you wanted to dash, my friend. He's got the flash. He's going to be forced to use it. Pops the W, but doesn't find a target. But yeah, that is a greedy wall dash punished by CB Cooper.
Yeah, very, very greedy.
Now Chitin's got the positioning to just start throwing W's over the wall, and as long as Dreadnought is trying to pressure into this mid lane, and these walls are here, it's going to be so difficult for them to actually siege this tower. They have to find the pick on Chitin if they want to clear waves and take this mid tier 1.
Yeah, Chitin's ability to just go ahead and melt that wave is really preventing their siege ability right now.
Yeah, nice sidestep by Peacemaker. Is not going to get caught by that one. I like that Hello is really just looking for these never moves, just trying to pull anyone to start a pick, to start a fight.
I like it. I like the initiative to try and like at least deal some damage whenever you can. Speaking of, oh my god,
most of his HP off of that Zeri W, and yeah, that's what First Strike plus the 2-headed spike does. Zeri can be incredibly dangerous, and as long as DZG can continue to play around these walls, 80 Sean is gonna get picked up. Chitin right clicks him to delete him, and Egg President is gonna pick up the body, and that's the kind of pick that you want to see with this style of composition.
80 Sean definitely was 80 gone.
Someone send help. Someone rescue me. Send help. Chitin's gonna make sure that this next wave pushes into the mid lane. But yeah, that's the kind of picks that they're looking for. Hello gets the never move into the handshake from Symphonic, and the rest of the team is just there to follow up. It's such a nice bit of CC combo.
Yeah, no, they layered that very well because it didn't really have any ability for Idashan to actually escape. Even after he tried to Gale Force away.
Yeah, with no flash, that Jhin is just dead. I mean, that's kind of like the big thing with AD carries like Jhin, and even to a certain extent like Zeri. If you get them caught and they don't have flash, they are usually just dead. Like, Zeri's kind of an exception because she has her extra dash, but Jin's got a lot of movement speed. It doesn't help if you are crowd controlled the whole time, but he's got movement speed.
Yeah, definitely can move, just not then.
That time, the never move really lived up to its name.
Yes.
But yeah, a good pick from DZG is going to extend their gold lead to about 2,500 gold, and it looks like they're going to try and pressure the bottom lane tower now, potentially setting up for a dive as Chitin is just sitting comfortably in a 2 versus 1, looking to get some poke off. Just making sure that the mid lane stays away from the tower, which I think is exactly what he needs to do. Yeah,
definitely just needs to stay away as far as possible to avoid any CC layering. That will just ruin their day.
Yeah, and Hello is going to just keep grabbing the never moves, keep stacking up HP, and this is what you want from Swain. You just want him to keep grabbing extra bits of health. Oh, Angry President wants to find the all-in. The nice Glacial Prison is coming out from ICGE. There's the hostile takeover. Nicely placed. It's going to force CB Cooper to walk away from the Zeri Blast, but at that point, Peacemaker was already picked. The fight was over. With Dragon spawning in 12 seconds, I think that pick is actually just going to guarantee that DZG is going to grab the Dragon, which giving them their second Hextech Dragon does not feel terrible.
Especially when you have the Zeri and like just the benefits that they're going to get from that Drake is just going to be pretty big.
Ooh. Yeah, the ability haste is really nice. CB Cooper is on the flank, but is going to be forced to flag and drag away. We can see Angry President just soloing out the Dragon because the rest of the team doesn't need to be there. There's no extra pressure coming through. With Peacemaker picked, Dreadnought is not going to look to contest that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way that they really could in the first place. They weren't in a good enough position. They didn't have any vision control. And if they did try to step towards it, they would lose any semblance of a mid-turret.
Yeah, Chitin just looking for the poke over the wall. You can see just these giant AoE zones that Dreadnought is not allowed to walk into. Oh, finds 3 with that one, but Youngnuts is going to try and punish him for it. Gets the Hextech ultimatum, looking to get the final kills in. Gets shielded, but Chitin is going to fall. The GA is there for Angry President. Going to try and get back in here. Picks up the kill onto the Camille's, looking to try and re-engage. But a nice tidal wave from Peacemaker. He goes down for it, but that is the disengage that his team needed. Trading 2 for 3. And that's a favorable fight for Dreadnought.
Yes, the big thing for that fight there was that the Viego wasn't really able to get the ulti chains that he was really looking for because the side of Dreadnought Gaming was positioned in a way that he wasn't able to walk towards them.
Angry Present just looking to try and defend this tower, but I think this one is for sure gone. Jin gets the 4th shot on it, and it's taken away.
Yeah, you know, Chitin definitely was not kiting well enough as they needed for 2 to be in that situation.
This is a cry for help. I am crying for help now. This is... But either way, that fight is gonna stem the bleeding a little bit. The dragon still did go over to DZG, however, and stacking the Hextech dragons, like we were talking about before the fight, is going to be really good for them. That ability haste is really nice. The attack speed, I mean, I guess it's alright for Angry Present and maybe for ICGE. No one else particularly cares about it. Oh, Chitin, this is not where you want to be. Youngnauts has the magic damage shield, but it's just gonna walk away from that trade. Chitin, happy to get any damage into the Camille that he can.
Yeah, no, I mean, the other thing that surprised me is that last fight was that the Zeri was able to get a lot of damage out from their W, but it still was not enough to win them that fight. It kind of goes to show how important that Zeri damage is to the team.
Yeah, if that Zeri W didn't land on 3 members before they actually took the fight, it would have just been no contest, probably a clean ace for Dreadnought. But the fact that 3 members lost about 700 HP like that before the fight could actually start made it a lot better for them and a lot easier to manage. But if they can just let this poke land before they try to hard engage, they're really going to be looking better. The problem is, Peacemaker has the Moonstone, and he's feeling comfortable to just start chucking out these big heals.
Yeah, there's just a lot. The other thing to consider right now, though, is that the Victor is starting to really dish out the damage that we want to see from this Victor at 27 minutes.
Yeah, it's a 2.5 item Victor. He's scary in his own right. He has to be respected in these fights.
Yeah, that's another thing I think that the side of DZG is going to have to avoid is taking these big trades in these tight corridors. I think if they try to stick to lanes as much as possible, they're gonna be way better off.
As long as it has a wall, Chitin shouldn't care. But it looks like right now, Dreadnought is trying to get vision control and positioning on this Baron, but DZG already doing a much better job than they were last game, maintaining vision control, making sure that it's not just given over for free to Dreadnought. They're going to keep control over the river and try and push their advantage a little bit further as well.
No, they definitely need to try to take advantage as much as possible of this. It's not a great lead. I mean, it's still 3k, so that's not like nothing, but they definitely need to try to take advantage of what they can while they can before the Jin and Victor start dealing dealing a ton of damage. And
yeah, dealing too much damage in fights where, like, even if you get the poke out, you still cannot win the fight. So now in the meantime, we just have a bit of a mid-siege going on. DZG is just trying to get the push into mid lane, make sure the waves are pushed out so they can grab this 3rd Hextech Dragon that's spawning in about 30 seconds. But the wave clear, again, from DRG is really nice. Like, the poke is there from Chitin. He does damage. The poke is good, but he's the only person poking. The rest of his team needs to be, like, in the middle of a fight, engaging and making a very consistent, long-term spread of damage happen.
The other thing, too, is that the Nami went Moonstone, so the poke is being healed back. Like, it's not like they're holding that damage before the fight.
Oh, ICGE wants to find No Name, gets plenty of damage, and the Glacial Prison is not going to find its mark. Hello's getting knocked up, and he's taking a Chaos Storm as well. So much damage, they ignored the Victor. Comes in, does a ton of damage. Chitin gets the Lightning Crash down, he's trying to get damage, but the 4-minute bubble from Peacemaker, he's so good. It's a triple kill for Victor. The Quadra is stolen by Youngnauts, and the 4th kill is going to be granted over to him, so no Penta again. But oh my god, Peacemaker, you're disgusting.
That was that was a massive bubble. There's not a lot of words to describe it other than just impressive. Like, that was the same level of impact that the Renata ulti had last game.
Yeah, speaking of ultis, I just want to point out that Hello took so much damage so quickly that he was not able to get the Demonic Ascension off. He had Flash, he had Heal, he just didn't get to play the game there. They ignored the Victor ulti, and that really just screwed them over.
Yeah, it was actually kind of looking good for the side of DZG, but unfortunately the Renata ulti did not get nearly as many people as we had hoped it would. Additionally, I actually think that the only person that got hit by the Renata ulti was the Victor. And that's not necessarily who you want your prime target to be in that situation.
Yeah, the primary potential pick onto No Name looked really good. They got the Zeri W, ICGE, got the knock-up. It looked like they were going to have a potential pick. But the counter-engage from Dreadnought Frost was so nice. Again, Peacemaker hitting a 4-man bubble to just guarantee the team fight win. It looked really good. Young Knots had impact in the fight. He got a good Hextech ultimatum, and CV Cooper hitting a 3-man Cataclysm really, really sealed that fight.
Despite their early setbacks, the side of Dreadnought Frost has been able to turn this game to their favor, and not by like small margins either.
Yeah, they're making it happen. They're making it look good. The poke from Zeri, it's good, but like you were talking about earlier with the Moonstone Nami, it's just not as effective as you want it to be. All right, I cast a Curse of there. That was a really nice W. But yeah, you're already seeing the health bar start to come back, except for Peacemaker. Good lord. Chitin is getting the poke in, but as W's start to miss, with like Redemption and with Moonstone, Peacemaker is going to start to get his health back. The rest of the team already full health. No Name is going to take a little bit of poke, but Peacemaker has full mana. He's just going to keep spamming the waves around and keep everybody health.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because it's like, well, what do? Like, your poke clearly isn't enough to stop them from healing at this point. It's not being nearly as impactful as it was in the mid game.
Yeah, we're at 30 minutes. We are approaching the mid to late game at this point. Nami has, like we were saying about, 2 items. Her healing is going to be really good. And even with Chitin having 3, it's not the same impact that you would have from an 80 carries area at this point. They didn't get a massive lead in the early game with the poke. They got forced back out of lane a couple times too many, I would say. But CV Cooper applying really good pressure, and it just means Chitin is not having the impact that we really want to see from him.
I mean, it's really unfortunate because I know that if we were to look at the damage graphs at the end of this game, like, Chitin is going to have incredible damage, but it's not going to have been really impactful, despite what the statistics may show.
Yeah, we have to look at the damage graph versus the healing graph. Like, I want to see how much Peacemaker has healed at the end of this game. Just being able to tank up all of these Zeri Ws and get the full healing back for his team with these Moonstone procs.
Yeah, it's... like, and you know, now they just got Honey Fruit. Like, it's just like, despite all of this very like serious damage, it's just not there. It's not consistently there enough to deal with and counter this healing.
Yeah, this is the really the downfall of poke champions with the durability update. The fact that the champions are slightly tankier means the poke isn't as effective, and with all of the sustain that is coming out from Nami alone, let's be clear, like, the sustain is really just one champion, and it's just totally negating what Chitin's entire game plan is, while Nami still provides more than just the healing.
Yes, like, it's one of those situations where I'm feeling like, I wish Ivern was good right now, like, as a jungler, because I would be playing the hell out of it.
Yeah, if you were playing into something like AP Zeri every game, where you could just shield the W and really pad your stats on it, you'd be really good every game.
Exactly.
Well, we have our next Hextech Dragon spawning in about a minute, so now both teams are trying to get vision control. Oh, the engage is potentially coming through. ICGE is looking for it. The Glacial Prison is going to go wide. Chitin is not able to find the W, but there's the Lightning Crash. The Berserk is coming through. There's the Hostile Takeover. CV Cooper all on his lonesome, but Hello is taking so much damage. The Curtain Call is there. The Bailout is not going to find it. I guess the Assistant come through in time, and it's a 1 for 2. Symphonic falls at the end of that as well. It's a 2 for 2. I didn't even see when No Name died.
No Name died actually to the Jhin getting hit by the Renata ulti.
The Hostile Takeover!
Yeah.
Well, it is still, that means it is a 2-for-2 overall, but the bot lane pairing of DZG being missing versus the jungler being missing for, Peacemaker's just dead! He's gone! Okay, that's the Zeri poke that you want to see and you're really trying to look for, and I think that's just going to guarantee that they get the Hex Tech Dragon.
Yeah, there's no contesting it at this point. It would be foolish to try to, like, go for a steal when both of you, like, both of the remaining members do not have smite.
Yeah, Chitin heard us talking smack and has just said, hey, I'm just gonna hit some really important W's this time, hit a really good ulti, get the pick on Peacemaker at the end of that fight to guarantee my team the dragon.
It definitely hit when it counted. I don't know, like, I mean, it's hard to, like, really give full credit to Chitin for that because, like, Chitin's just been throwing out W's left and right, and I mean, like, a blind squirrel gets its nut every time. Like, you know, not every time, but, like, every once in a while. So it's like, eventually one of them is going to hit the Nami and kill the Nami.
Yeah, we've been seeing Chitin actually hit most of his W's for the most part. And that one, I think, potentially was blind. I don't actually know if DZG had vision in that brush when they were pushing forward into it, so it might be literally a blind squirrel in this case, but Chitin had impact in that fight, and that was the kind of impact that we need to see him have in every fight as this game goes on. Baron is now spawned. The last regular elemental dragon of the game is going to be spawning in 4 minutes, and that's potentially a game decider. Who gets Hex Tech Soul?
Yeah, like, I definitely think it'd be better for DZG, just because obviously stacking 4, like, you know, like, like 4 of the same type is always better than, like, you know, just getting the soul.
Yeah,
so,
even if you don't get the attack, even if you don't care about the attack speed from it, that's 24 ability haste. That's really good.
That means 24, you know, ability haste more W's coming out.
Yeah, 24 more ability haste for the Zeri, which her build in general doesn't actually have a ton of ability haste, so it is high value haste as well. It's not the diminishing returns that you see when a champion has like 75, 100 ability haste. I think the Zeri only has like, if I remember from items correctly, like maybe 30, 40 without the dragons.
Yeah, it's not, you know, enough to be really, like, serious. I actually don't know if starting this Drake is worth it here.
Yeah, they are going to press her onto the Baron. CB Cooper is here. They're looking for the turn. ICGE is going to find the Glacial Prison onto No Name. There's the Berserk finding 4 people, but Youngnots blows up Symphonic, but No Name gets deleted in return. Angry Present looking for the damage onto 80 Sean, but it's just not fully there. Looking for his force reset. He grabs the Camille body, but it's not in time. He goes into the regen. It's a double kill for Chitin. He's trying to kite out this fight as much as possible. ICGE is gonna live. It's a triple kill for the Zeri, and Angry Present did not win the fight either. It's a quadra kill for the 3rd time in this series. Chitin finds 4, and that's an ace for DZG.
I was a little concerned about that Renata ulti because it didn't hit the gen, but I was proved wrong in that situation. A very close call for certain members. Like, look at the Viego is almost dead right now as he.
Someone tank this Baron for him. Don't let him do this.
Oh my god! Caster curse!
Yeah, someone else just really needed to walk forward and tank that for him. It's not going to be in threat of a steal because everyone is still dead, but that's one less Baron buff you have, and that's not good.
Yeah, no, it's never good to just randomly not get the Baron buff.
Yeah, the thing with the Renata ulti is, even if it's not hitting Jhin, who is like the primary auto-attacking target, if you're hitting No Name, if you're hitting CB Cooper, that's like about 2 seconds where they are not throwing abilities into your team. It's 2 seconds where they can't change their positioning at all. It's 2 seconds where they can't, like, make something happen during a fight, which is what you want to see out of the Renata ultis. Symphonic has been placing them really nicely, and even if it's not hitting AD Sean, it's finding No Name, it's finding Youngnots, it's finding CB Cooper. It's not letting them play the game that they want to play.
Yeah, you know, it is good to see that after all this smack talk and pressure we've been putting on Chitin for the mage build, it's paying off because now they're up, unfortunately they're still only up 3k gold, but oh my god, that damage.
That's 1300 damage onto No Name. He doesn't have any magic resist, and that is a Void Staff plus a Lumens on Zeri. DRG needs to get out of here as soon as possible, but it is going to be the engage from ICGE, looking for Youngnots, but is not able to find him. Nice Glacial Prison to find Addy Sean, but there's a Viego right on top of him as he Gale Forces out. CB Cooper is looking for the trade onto Symphonic, but I don't think he has the damage combined with the bailout. He's going to survive. Jin makes it out as well, but that is still the jungler lost when Dragon is up in 30 seconds, and you have to think that's a guaranteed soul for DZG.
Oh, this is definitely a soul. Honestly, also very good flank by Present in this situation, because that Jin was definitely out had he not been there.
Yeah, Jin Gale forced out just right into the waiting arms of Present. Young Knots looking for the engage here onto Hello. He drops the Hextech ultimatum. We're waiting for that last Q, looking for the true damage. Plenty of damage coming through, but Hello is healing so much. Now with the Hextech soul, the slowers are coming through. Symphonic is here with the bailout as well. Hello just doesn't die. Chitin picks up the kill, and that's the tank power of Swain, baby. You can't take a long fight against him. Glacial Present comes out from ICGE. It finds no name. A lightning crash to do insane damage! Chitin goes down, but that is a worthy trade, sir. Well played.
Ooh, having a little bit of technical difficulties right now.
Sean is taking a second to reconnect. I don't know how much influence he would have had in that fight. I don't even know if he had respawned in time for that fight to happen. I wasn't looking at the side health bars too carefully.
Neither was I, and unfortunately, even if he was up, there was no way that they could take the pause for the fact that Sean, like the Camille had already started engaging in on the Swain.
Yeah, here's the curtain call. He's looking for the pick onto Hello, but he's got a really hefty Sejuani in front of him. We are going to have a second for the replay to get itself back in order, just for the unpaused time. You know, Riot Client, it's really nicely made and doesn't have any sort of bugs whatsoever.
You know what, I recently saw a YouTube video where it was like a hypothetical of like what it would look like if it wasn't made of spaghetti code. And it just made me think that there's an alternate reality where the client is incredible and perfect.
Yeah, there is a world out there with an immaculate client. We are going to get just a mini replay of what just happened. Now we are back to live. ICGE just tanking up the curtain call like he absolutely does not care because he doesn't. Oh, Eddie Sean, maybe looking for the all-in. Hello, I don't think you wanted to pull him in. There's the fourth shot. A really nice bubble from Peacemaker is going to find 3, and this might have been the fight that DRG was looking for. It's a triple kill for the Jin. Now ICGE has to try and find his way out. Dashes over the wall, but CB Cooper has the flag and drag. The bubble's going to land again. Peacemaker does not miss. The crits are coming through from Eddie Sean. It's 4 kills for him. There's no objectives up, but that's going to save the base.
It definitely was looking like an end of the game there. So this is definitely the best possible outcome.
There's a potential for DZG to actually lose a lot here. The wave is down on the bottom side. It's close to tower. This is definitely an inner tower loss for certain, and potentially an inhibitor tower as well, if not an inhibitor.
Yeah, no, I think with timers the way that they are, like that's still another like 10 seconds that they have, and I don't think that there's enough Zeri poke in the world to stop this tower from disappearing.
Zeri just has to focus on clearing the wave, but the W can't hit all the wave at the same time. That one is actually just going to go totally wide. That's the inhibitor down almost for sure. Only Symphonic and Hello are back up now with Chitin. Anger Present is there. The Berserker's going to find Jin. He's going to get pulled back. This is going to do so much damage. Chitin flashes forward for the lightning crash. Finds the shutdown. Now Symphonic pops the Shirelles. He's looking for it. Peacemaker's going to get caught by the eye. Hello. More like goodbye, Peacemaker. Symphonic steals the last kill on that one. Chitin dashes over the wall to get the right click on No Name.
TP's coming in.
Coming through. They're looking to push through the mid lane. That's 3 people dead. Anger Present is just looking to interrupt the recalls. He doesn't have the Heartbreaker to get over the wall, but they have vision. They know exactly where they are. ICGE can tank the towers. This game is over.
I was not. This has been quite the tug of the heartstrings. I thought that after the comeback from the initial supposed to be end of the game was gonna be the end of the game.
Yeah, CB Cooper just has to sit here and watch his Nexus fall. There's not really a lot he can do against a full health Sejuani. Has to flash away from the Glacial Prison and the Lightning Crash. But DZG are going to tie up the series 1-1 and take us to Game 3.
I was not expecting it, but I love... I'm glad to see that
that was honestly a closer game than I think anyone had anticipated. Chitin, if we're looking at the damage charts, yeah, that Zeri build does do a little bit of damage. I actually wonder if we can get the healing for Peacemaker really quick. I want to see if we can see how much that is, potentially in the advanced details. I just want to know how much did that Nami do, or is it not going to work at all? Thank you, Riot. Love to see that.
We might be able to still get it.
If we can potentially get it, that'd be great, because I just want to know how much actual healing Nami was able to pump out in that game. Because it felt like a lot.
It did feel like a lot.
Yeah, look at the healing done. More healing overall, not just like healing to allied champions, but healing over the course of the entire game than Viego with Sunderer and Death's Dance. Just, that's a lot of healing. That's a lot of healing.
It did. It definitely was a lot. It was good enough to sustain a lot of these like prolonged pokes that were coming out from the Zeri, which was as much as you could ask for, honestly.
Yeah, we are going to take a quick break before we hop into Game 3, but Elysium have now tied up the scoreline 1-1. Can they shut it out and retain their perfect match score, if not their perfect game score? We'll be right back.
Those hands and lights can't stop me. I just hold on for dear life. Yeah, I can't give up this feeling that I get when looking down from this high. When I'm with you, when I'm with you, this high. Just hold on for dear life. Yeah, I can't give up this feeling that I get when looking down from the sky.
calm before the storm. Things aren't as they were before. You best start bracing. Did you think you could keep us out? Shut the gates, forget us now. Tides are changing. Can you hear the sound? Can't stop us now. We're not back in town, know what we're doing. Things are about to change, it's evolution. Voices shake the ground, you feel it moving. We're the revolution. Can you hear the sound? Ground beneath your feet, with a whisper in the trees. Do you feel us watching? Hunger in our eyes, victories on our minds. It's our time to rise. Can you hear the sound? Can't stop us now. We're not back in town, know what we're doing. Things are about to change, it's evolution. Voices shake the ground, you feel it moving. We're the revolution. Can you hear the sound? Back in town, know what we're doing. Things are about to change, it's evolution. Voices shake the ground, you feel it moving. We're the revolution. Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna light it up tonight. We're gonna light it up tonight. We're gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We're gonna light it up. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna light it up tonight. We're gonna light it
Welcome back after a very exciting Game 2. Elysium has tied up our game score 1-1 and is looking to finish out the series strong. I am once again What's Your Pretty, one of your lovely casters, and joining me tonight is Tony. We've had an exciting series so far. How do we think it's going to finish?
I hope it finishes good because my emotions cannot deal with this anymore. There's been so much back and forth between both sides that granted, I've been rooting for both of them, which is probably part of my problem, but it's been painful in a good way.
Yeah, we are already into the draft phase. DRG has decided that the Zeri was in fact the problem last game, and they are going to switch up their bans this time and take it out alongside Xerath as well.
I think that I understand why they would want to take it out, because if they felt that the long-range poke was a problem, it makes sense that you would want to take out a very similar option as far as what long-range poke could be like.
Yeah, Xerath was a champion that they banned in Game 1 in that second round, so it's not an unprecedented ban for them, but it looks like DZG is going to keep their bans pretty much the same. The Sivir, the Trundle, and the Tristana from Game 2 all being taken away.
Yeah, but now with the Seraphine coming through, I would be very scared. Especially with the Renata still being through, it's almost like you feel like you have to take.
Yeah, it feels like you have to take the Renata away, but playing Renata into an Enchanter doesn't feel that great. Just because you're not getting a ton of value out of ulting them, and they do what you want to do with your bailout, but sometimes better just because they're more proactive with it. But with the bans changing up from Dreadnought, it means the Wukong is going to slip through pick ban, and it is going to be picked up by DZG.
Yeah, I really hope that they make the best use of it. Wukong being as strong as he is right now is a game changer. I'm just hoping to see that it's properly executed, and I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, we're hoping to see good execution. In Game 3, in situations like this is where execution and micro can really start to fall off as the stress and the tension really gets to you. So hopefully DZG can keep their skills sharp and keep their senses on them, as they are going to pick up the Renata as well and take that one away from Dreadnought.
It's the correct decision to make. You don't want to, leave it up for a potential Seraphine mid Renata support situation.
Yeah, even with a Seraphine support Ezreal AD carry, which is the hover right now, it's a really good poke lane, and Renata doesn't like poke too much, so it feels kind of bad that you have to take it away from Dreadnought here.
Yeah, you do, and especially when you're locking in melee champ off the bat. And especially when you look at what the rest of DZG has been playing, it makes sense why you almost have to take them.
It looks like they are going to grab the Shyvana for themselves again, looking to run that one potentially on the top side. It looked good for Wolf last game, but he's not in this game. It's Youngnauts up there in the top lane. We'll see if he's able to run it as well. I think this is a scary draft so far from Dreadnought.
I think that the Shyvana is going to go jungle. Shyvana currently is the third best Wukong counter right now. It has the third highest win rate, and as far as just providing good utility, and especially kind of sticking to this current poke comp style, I definitely think that it is cohesive to what the side of Dreadnought Frost is going to try to do.
Yeah, it looks like DZG agrees with you as they lock in the Sejuani and immediately are going to ban away the Fiora. So they're also assuming that Shyvana is going to go into the jungle, as Dreadnought is going to take away the Ashe. They're going to start banning away these pairings that work really well with Renata. In pro play right now, a lot of what we're seeing is Kalista, but I don't know how comfortable Hello is on the Kalista picks, and they're probably also banning champions that Hello is comfortable on.
The Ashe did look really good, and especially when you combine it with the Sejuani. It's a lot of slows. If you get caught by the Sejuani, you're just not getting away if the Ashe is able to auto as well.
Yeah, DZG with their last ban are just going to complete the run back on bans from Game 2. I don't hate it, but I think their bans were not any of the problem of Game 1 or Game 2, so they're just going to solidify their bans, take away the Olaf and the Fiora. And we're just waiting on what Dreadnought wants to take away from that bot lane, or even if they want to try and target a ban towards the mid lane. Maybe take away the Diana that we saw in Game 1.
I do like that Dreadnought Frost is trying to be as dynamic as possible with their drafts, as well as what their bans are. I do hope that it turns out to be the problem with Game 2, though I don't really think it was. I just think that it came down to Zeri getting ahead early and eventually hitting the W's where it needed to be, as well as like I think that the overcommittal to the bot lane turret before the end of the game was part of the problem.
Yeah, just the fact that Zeri was able to have the presence in the late game that she had, despite what I would say was the fall off in the mid game, really ended up showing nicely what Chitin could do on that pick. And now it looks like they're saving their mid lane pick for last, trying to see if that Seraphine really is going to be in support, or if they are going to be matching up against Seraphine in the mid lane as they grab the Misfortune, which is a decent pairing with Renata.
Yeah, it is. And then when you have the Wukong on top of it and the Sejuani, there's enough lockdown in place there that you are going to make it difficult enough for people to not get, difficult enough for people to get out of the MF ulti.
We are forming Exodia, the bullet time with the hostile takeover, with the Cyclone. But do you know what counters Exodia? Really tanky champions, and Swain and Shyvana can do that pretty well.
Yeah, right now they're developing a frontline beefy enough, and that's going to deal enough damage, because the Swain right now is going to create a zone, it's going to do a good job zoning, out the damage that's going to be coming out from DZG. So they have a beefy enough front line that's going to deal enough poke and create enough lockdown when needed.
Yeah, and with the Swain being locked in, it is going to guarantee that Seraphine, almost for certain, goes into the support role, and with Swain in the mid lane. I guess it could be Ezreal, Swain bot lane, and Seraphine up there in the mid, but I think that's less of what we expect. And now we have to see what Chitin wants for the mid lane matchup into this Swain. We've been seeing some unique picks out of him, but with the Zeri taken away from him, what is he going to choose? Mordekaiser? Mordekaiser is the choice. Okay.
I don't hate it. I just don't know. You know, it's one of those picks where I'm like, okay, I like it, but I don't know if this was really what I was thinking that you would pick.
Yeah, Mordekaiser, generally when you're seeing him, it's to match him up into tanks, like someone like Ornn or like Mundo in the top side, just to steal their stats, abuse their weaker laning phase, and just let Mordekaiser get ahead. And I suppose Swain doesn't have the strongest laning phase, so I can see the logic behind Mordekaiser, and especially having him in the shorter lane of mid lane means that he's going to be less susceptible to ganks. We also could be just totally wrong about this draft. It could be Sejuani sticking with her main role in the jungle, have the Mordekaiser go up top lane. It could be something like Lethality Wukong mid. I wouldn't put it past Chitin to do. There's still a bit of flexibility for the top side here.
I don't think that I can 100% pin down where that is going to be, because I haven't been able to pin down any of where some of these champions from the side of DZG are going anyways.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see as the client draft gets locked in. That is Sejuani top, and that's Wukong jungle, which means confirmed Chitin's piloting the Mordekaiser in mid.
It's unique.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I really don't know how I feel about it, because generally Mordekaiser into range matchups isn't the best, but if Mordekaiser can get on top of Swain, Swain can't really stop him from just walking at you, so...
I assumed that it was going to be a Flash Ghost type setup, probably, from the Mordekaiser, in order to grant that, distance, or, shorten that distance, in order to actually, deal damage, and can force the Swain into situations.
Yeah, I think something I want to talk about this draft before we let it go to a break is the curiosity behind this Xerath ban. Do we think that's a support-focused ban or a mid-lane focused ban? Because we saw it in draft number 2 when we saw it in draft number 1 when the Ashe and Amumu had already been locked in.
So my best guess
as well as the Diana.
It's kind of hard to say, because obviously there was still some flexibility there, and it's not like Chitin doesn't play any mages. It's just it's a very slim few. So I don't really know. It's really hard to say. And I think that it's probably mid focused, just because that makes more sense to me normally. I don't know. What do you think?
I would have to assume that it's support focused, just because it doesn't seem like it's something that's in Chitin's champion pool, and it's not the style of champion he wants to play. Although after we saw the Zeri poke style, maybe potentially that's what he likes. I just want to point that out because we do see ICGE has Sejuani again. and we saw the performance that he put on it in game
Especially into
2,
this matchup.
and it looked good into the Camille. So if he can pull a similar kind of performance, I think it might be top lane just over for Young Nuts.
Yes, I definitely think that if assuming all variables are the same, it's going to be a definite win for the side of DZG in the top lane.
Yeah, it's just going to be a matter of can they win across the rest of the map. Now, while we wait for our spectator delay, I do want to take a second to once again talk to you guys about the partnerships that we have here at Dreadzone Gaming. First off tonight, as you heard before, we have Dubby. Dubby is an energy drink sponsor, which is a little bit cleaner than a lot of the other drinks that you might know. No sugar, no maltodextrin filler, no artificial colors or dyes, and it's totally gluten-free, so it's much healthier when you need that boost of energy going into your day. And if you are shopping with them and use the code DZGWIN, you can get 10% off your entire purchase, including a starter pack that has a shaker and 3 sample flavors.
I think I might need that after that very mentally draining game 2.
Yeah, that game was definitely a tough one, and if you want to drag your games out to that sort of extent and really show off the microplay that we've been seeing in games like this, you can also use our second partnership of tonight, Metafy. Metafy is a coaching service that Dreadzone Gaming has partnered with to help you increase your skill in games like Valorant, Rocket League, and especially League of Legends. Prices will vary between the coaches, and some even offer things like free intro sessions. Coaches will vary by rank and depending on what you want to do. Most will both offer live coaching and VOD reviews. If you use the link below, and you will also get $10 worth of credit after completing your first booking. So start your climb and get to the rank you want to be today. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Town, from London to Taiwan, I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
Sometimes I can't help but feel like I don't belong here. Out of place, out of mind, like all the time. There's nothing else that feels like it's meant for me. But I've got a sweet escape. Under bright light, illuminate my face. Under bright light.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here for our last game of the night. DZG Elysium has evened up the scoreline in a exciting and heart-wrenching game 2 to tie up the game score 1-1, and we are now in our third game versus Dreadnought Frost.
All right, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. Dreadnought Frost is gonna lose this because of the Shyvana taking not a great chroma.
You're gonna judge the win or loss based on the Shyvana chroma?
Yes.
You know what? I think that's respectable. I also want to say there's a couple of skin choices here that are not. I wouldn't call it suspect, but just as a support player myself, I don't like Admiral Renata. It removes her voice filter from the chemical mask, and I think that's really cool. Part of her voice acting and part of her like base skin. So I gotta take some points off Symphonic for that one.
Yeah, I can understand that. I am a little disappointed though that there's not a Mordekaiser skin either, because there's some very good Mordekaiser skins.
Yeah, Project is the first one that comes to mind. The voiceover on that one and the effects on that one, really nice. But It looks like it is going to be both junglers starting on the blue buff. Adishon, that's how we pronounced it. Adishon, he's posing a little aggressively here. It looks like he and Peacemaker are going to try and get an aggressive start to this bottom lane. Just looking for a bit of poke. There it is.
That's some good Guardian
proc. Yeah, that's just a lot of Hello's health just taken down.
I think it's just going to be a lot of... Jesus Christ, that Seraphine is half health.
Yeah, Seraphine, for all of her like potential playmaking, her potential like power in her abilities, she is still a very squishy champion. So the poke coming out from Renata Misfortune can be devastating, especially when Misfortune is running Comet. They did get the level 2 first. Adishon is dealing plenty of damage in onto Symphonic and is going to force a potion out of him. And until the level 2 comes through, oh, Chitin getting plenty of damage in. A nice return pull. Swain says, I'm going to pull you in, and Mordekaiser says, no, you. Card.
We're seeing those trades come out from that Sejuani where it's like just really favorable. The other thing too though is I think that the Mordekaiser needs to start stepping up a little further if it's going to go for these pools each time.
Oh, speaking of stepping up further, he is walking into No Name. No cares in the world. He's got the Conqueror and the passive stacked up, so he's got a bit of extra movement speed. Yeah, this is looking like a really comfortable Mordekaiser matchup. Oh, nice handshake from Symphonic. Adishon is forced to flash away. Nice exhaust from Peacemaker is going to keep his AD carry alive, but now potentially he's the one in trouble, but Symphonic, a little worried about the size of the minion wave, is not going to continue that engage.
Yeah, I mean, like, as far as, like, summoner spells go, like, it is still worth it. Like, that's kind of a win for the side of DZG, 2 versus 1 in that situation. But good use of the exhaust to prevent the death.
Yeah, it is teleport burn from the Ezreal. We do have to point out that it is triple teleport for Dreadnought over here. They did just opt to take the teleport on Ezreal, which I think is fine enough. It means they're going to be weaker during the laning phase. Speaking of weaker during the laning phase, Angry Present has made it here. Nice pull from Chitin. He's going to force the flash out of No Name. And that's a vulnerable control mage in the mid lane now.
I have to give credit to Chitin. Every time that we've doubted, like, the viability of his pick, he seems to at least be, like, I know it's still early to make that claim about the Mordekaiser pick, but he does seem to at least perform well enough that it doesn't seem like it's troll.
Yeah, he seems to have a very strange amount of understanding in these matchups. Like, I've seen him queue up his Q while he's getting pulled in by Swain to make sure that the damage lands on Swain, or even what we saw earlier, the counter pull into the Swain. I don't know how he's comfortable on the Swain versus Mordekaiser matchup, but he seems comfortable on it.
Don't know where he got the practice, but he does seem comfortable.
Yeah, it seems to be a bit of comfort for Chitin here, so I'm not going to judge him until we get to the mid game and we see the impact that he has, because for now he's up 5 CS and he's feeling pretty okay.
Your attempts are feeble.
Oh, ICG has Ignite. Young Nuts is getting very low here. There's the Ignite ticked. Young Nuts, same thing as game 1, gets first blood in. Solo Bolo for the Sejuani.
Ah, I like that, Solo Bolo. So the thing is, though, is that Nance is stepping up really at bad times when trying to take trades or even, like, CS the wave, while the Sejuani has 3 procs of the passive on Nance.
Yeah, that is just not something you can do.
It's not something you want to do?
Yeah. CV Cooper is going to face check into Angry Present, but the press the attack is going to make this a very favorable trade for Cooper. He wants to extend this one even more. He's got Peacemaker behind him. Symphonic is going to flash forward for the handshake to keep Cooper in place, but there's the pullback from Chitin. He's got the drugs on him. Mordekaiser is walking menacingly at CV Cooper, flashes forward, gets the last auto attack, picks up Cooper. And this Mordekaiser is starting to get ahead.
Yeah, now he's got 6-2.
Yeah, No Name has very low mana and is about half HP, so if he gets pulled away from his tower, He gets ultied. I think that's potentially just a dead Swain. But Chitin missed a cannon minion, so his laning phase is over. He loses. I'm sorry, that's just how it works. Yeah, right there, we just saw an example of the trades that ICGE now gets to take into Young Knots. He gets to walk up just so aggressively into the Camille, and until she has Divine Sunder, her damage isn't that high.
But yeah, exactly, and also keep in mind that like the Sejuani is immediately opting into a tier and armor, so it's not like it's not like despite not building any damage, it is going to be beneficial for the Sejuani.
Yeah, Sejuani scales off of health, and she scales off of time in combat. The longer she spends in combat, the more damage she's going to do every time. And especially building the armor into Camille and Shyvana, and even Ezreal, the later the game goes, you're not going to be unhappy about that.
No, not at all.
But for now, with just those 2 quick early kills, the game is going to slow down a little bit. First Dragon eases the ocean. I am going to ask you again what you think our Rift is going to be. I mean, there's no way it's Hex Tech Soul 3 games in a row, right?
No, there's no way. There's no way. This one, definitely Fire Drake.
I think this one is going to be a Cloud Soul, because I think Riot likes to do that, but we gotta engage in the bot lane. Hello is going to get exhausted. The exhaust is traded back onto Adishon, dashing forward, but nice body blocking from Symphonic to make sure that the Mystic Shots can't land. Gets in. No, the minion trolled him. Didn't get the block in time. Peacemaker has to flash away. Anger Present has his own flash, can maybe look to get a bit more aggressive. The handshake is not going to find Adishon, but Chitin has rotated down. Adishon is maybe looking for the trade back onto Addy Present, but he's going to get pulled into the Death Realm. Adishon dashes over the wall with the Arcane Shift, but Chitin is just happy to sit in the Death Realm with him and auto-attack him, and that is a free kill for the DZG mid laner.
I was kind of questioning whether or not it was going to be worth it for the Mordekaiser to roam in that situation, because obviously Mordekaiser is very slow. And in this situation, I was like, oh, there's no way. They're just going to get out. There's going to be nothing worth it. But he was still able to get the Death Realm ulti in.
Yeah, it may not be the stolen stats, but it guarantees that Adishon cannot walk away, and that's a free kill for him. Not one you're upset to see. ICG has ulti and has Ignite. I don't think Nats wants to take this. Well, that was wrong. It's not Cloud Soul. Damn. Unlucky.
Yep. I think I have to be at least right once this series.
So it's Infernal, Ocean, or Hextech. An Infernal Mountain or Hextech. It cannot be Ocean. But
yeah, exactly.
It could be Hextech 3 games in a row.
If it's Hextech again, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. It's just gonna be one of those things where I'm like, all right, I guess.
Riot knows that this game is being streamed, so they want to give me every opportunity to shill Arcane as much as possible, because as much as I joke about it, it is genuinely a really good show, and if you haven't seen it, you should watch it.
It is very good. Obviously, Jace looking as incredible as Jace does in that show is an Emmy nominee in itself.
An Emmy nominee for hotness alone. God, the world would crumble.
Yeah.
But now we did have a slight lane swap as Chitin was staying bot to pick up waves, and Hello just walked himself into the mid, and it's going to mean the CS between the mid and the AD carry stay relatively the same, just about it's even overall, but it's like 10 CS mid versus 7 or 8 CS bot lane. It's not a lot.
Yeah. I am curious, like, it is kind of surprising to me that the CS difference is only 11 for that roam. From the Mordekaiser, and I mean, he's up 2 kills. Definitely very worth it.
Yeah, this is something similar that we saw earlier in the game, where mid laners roaming and not being punished for it seems to be a really big problem for. This is not meant as a disparaging comment, but players at this level, I would say, when you get into like pro play, if a mid laner roams, there is usually like 1 plate, 2 plate gone, or a roam on the other side of the map that happens. Young Nats trying to get the engage in here, has the Hextech ultimatum. CB Cooper uses the Dragon's Descent, but I think ICGE might actually just be able to walk out of this one. He's totally fine. Pops the Glacial Prison just to make sure he can escape. No Name is now stuck in the Death Realm with Chitin. He's under tower, flashes away, but I do not think Chitin
he doesn't care.
Does not care. Mordekaiser walks forward menacingly and bonks down the Swain.
Honestly, though, this is kind of just one of those situations where it's like, why are you not pushing for tower plates in this situation? Like, the Swain is dead. The Swain has no TP. Like, dang, back on at least, you know, like a plate or two.
Yeah, I think at the very least getting that, getting the wave fully under tower is what you want to see, as Symphonic's gonna pull the hostile takeover. There's the Cyclone and the bullet time, so much damage into Peacemaker. It is 3 ults burned for the support, but that's a successful gank.
I mean, we still take those.
I mean, it doesn't matter how you get your ganks off as long as they work. There's no objective to be had there, but it's still a good gank to get, and it's extra gold in the pocket of Misfortune.
Yeah, I mean, like, and if you're gonna pick a target, like, the Seraphine is obviously the better choice in that situation, because if you can't get both locked down and you have to pick one, you take the one that you can almost guarantee you're gonna get the kill on. So, I mean, it's correct.
Chitin is going to be spotted out by a ward. CB Cooper is here. Now Chitin knows. It's still going to get caught by the Never Move. But yeah, Mordekaiser now sitting 3-0. Has the Merc Treads in inventory. Is comfortably just going to be walking forward in this lane. I think even if CB Cooper and Peacemaker rotate up to try and gank him, as long as he has Death Realm up, he's not going to care.
No, I don't think that he will in any capacity. And also he's utilizing that shield less as a means to like block the damage, and more so just to like sustain himself in lane, which is really smart. I think that's very interesting from him, because he knows that the Swain isn't going to be dealing enough meaningful damage on a regular basis.
Yeah, the burst damage that Swain does is not high, but over a long period of time, Swain will do more and more. So just popping that shield early just to get as much health back as you can from it, I think is the right call in this case.
Yes.
It shows a really, it's again, like we were talking about earlier, a weird amount of comfort for this particular matchup, or at least just similar matchups. Chitin, this is a 3v1. I do not think this is the fight you want to take. He's going to pull Peacemaker into the death row, but he's going to get rooted up. Peacemaker does have the Encore if he really starts to feel threatened, but Chitin is just going to be forced to walk away now. Oh, but Angry Present is here. The Encore is not going to find the targets that he was looking for. Peacemaker has to flash away. Angry Present is here in the front line. He is just putting the Cyclones down. Nice pull back. Chitin goes on a rampage. Adishan is over the wall. Angry President is trying to get the engage on him, but I don't know if this is the fight exactly that he wants to take. Symphonic now taking a bit of damage. But with the Dragon coming up, that's a good pick and a lot of health bar damage, just to make sure that they guarantee this Cloud Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was... I enjoy the bravado from Present in this situation, but, like, it was one of those things where it's like, hey, we've already gotten our lead. There's no need to really, like... It's cool that you did that, but it wasn't necessary to keep going. Like, we already have gotten what we wanted in this situation.
Yeah, and speaking of got what they wanted in the situation, I think Mountain Soul is exactly what DZG is hoping for here. If Sejuani and Mordekaiser get as tanky as possible, they cannot die in these fights.
Yeah, but it wasn't for what I was hoping for.
It wasn't Infernal, and it wasn't Hextech. It was the only option that pleases absolutely nobody here on the casting desk.
Yeah. I think that it's always fun to get the Flame Drake, because it's just an extra fun little splash effect to get a good bit of extra damage.
It is also worth noting, while it isn't the exciting Infernal Dragon, Mountain Dragon is probably the best result that you could hope for if you are Dreadnought as well, because if you can get extra tank stats on Swain, as we might have to put that on pause, Symphonic is going to get stunned up. No Name pops the Demonic Ascension, but a nice flash away from Symphonic means he's not going to get too much more punish in.
Yeah, Symphonic's positioning has been very interesting at times. Like, it's either really immaculate, or it's just like, huh, why were you standing there? Like, you know, you didn't need to take 75% of your HP as damage, you know? It's just...
It's immaculate or it's a little sloppy. And you know what? Sometimes that's just what happens in these long series. But like I was saying earlier, the Dragon spawning, I think, is the best option for Dreadnought, because if they can start winning these fights and get positioning on even just 1 or 2 dragons, getting like 12% armor and MR for this already incredibly tanky... Oh, Chitin, that's a Death Realm onto No Name. No Name is going to be able to reach his tower, but I don't think the tower is going to do very much for you, buddy. Dragon's Descent from CB Cooper, but you are 2 levels down, and that is a Riftmaker Mordekaiser. I don't actually know who wins this. Chitin is going to have a shield fairly soon. He gets the level up. He's got plenty of shields, plenty of healing. Chitin is taking this fight, and he is very happy to be doing so. Oh my god! Chitin you insane, Mad Lad? He finds the 2 versus 1. Now Peacemaker has to walk away. Chitin is going to walk at him menacingly. Adishan is walking towards him, flashes forward to get the Arcane Shift in the Encore just to make sure that Addy gets the shutdown.
Okay, it's in one of these situations that mid needs to be being shoved as hard as possible to try to get as much damage as they can. I mean, it was still a super impressive performance by Chitin in that situation, but like it's like they are committing a lot of resources in the situation, and you need to try to get as much as you can out of it to at least make it like Chitin's like awesome performance worth it.
Yeah, they do end up grabbing that first tier mid lane tower, which I think is our first tower of the game. So they get plenty out of it, along with the couple of kills that Chitin gets. Hello, just popping the bullet time to make sure that Addy is forced all the way off of it.
Yeah, assert your authority over the wave. I mean, I respect it.
I mean, at this point, it's a short enough cooldown, as well as Hello is, I just want to point this out, building AP at Misfortune, or at the very least building a Leandries. I've seen this in ARAM every once in a while, where you go Leandries plus, like, lethality items, because your ultimate technically does physical damage. I haven't seen it in a Summoner's Rift game, though, so this is new.
I'm all, you know what, between Chitin and maybe ICGE, like, surprising performance, Hello, do whatever you want, buddy. Like, if this is what you think is the play, this is the play.
This is a bit of a for-fun game for Hello. He knows he's getting carried by Chitin and ICGE, so he's just comfortable being like, okay, maybe I'll try out AP Misfortune this game, see how good it feels. I mean, in laning phase, the poke has actually been good, and if Hello can build an anti-heal item to negate what Seraphine wants to do, and maybe even as well as like the Serpent's Fang, I think there's a lot of potential for Hello to just be the utility that his carries need, which just sounds weird for an AD carry.
Like, I'm not an MF player, so I'm just gonna be like, you know what, dude? Like, if I don't know if that's how that works, but if that's how you think it works, like, do it. You know?
Yeah, the Leandry's damage over time means that he can apply anti-heal and anti-shield fairly well, because I'm just going to double-check this while I have the time and there isn't a fight going on. I think Serpent's Fang applies on any damage. Oh, maybe I don't have time. Peacemaker is pulled into the Death Realm, exhausted. The teleport is coming down from ICGE. A nice flash from Peacemaker to avoid the Obliterate, but he's still stuck in the Death Realm. The second Obliterate comes through, Chitin picks that one up, and with Dragon spawning in 20 seconds, you have to assume that that one's going to be guaranteed for DZG.
I like the spunk from the Seraphine flashing there to try to, like, distance themselves enough in the Death Realm. Because, like, while we can't see it on our screen, it definitely was that the circle was encompassing just enough of the wall that there was going to be a gap big enough for the Seraphine to flash there, but not big enough for her to be untouched the moment that the Death Realm disappeared.
Yeah, I suppose I would... I know it's a lot to ask from Riot, but maybe just like some sort of indicator of where the edge of the Death Realm is in the Spectator client. I know it's hard, because anytime you mess with the Spectator client, you get 50 new bugs, but it is the third dragon going over to DZG, which means that they are 5 minutes away from a potential Mountain Soul.
They're playing this really well. Like, this has been the cleanest game so far from DZG. We are seeing the Divine Sunder damage actually coming in now, though.
Yeah, Divine Sunder, even with the Warden's Mail and the Bramble Vest, it's a lot of damage into Sejuani, and you suddenly have found yourself in a position where you're like, hey, I'm not winning these short trades anymore because Camille's getting that true damage, and I can't stop that.
Yes.
Oh, Symphonic, nice. Flash away, but the Hextech Ultimatum is there. Great Berserk, but it's going to be followed up by the Encore and the True Shot Barrage. But in the meantime, No Name is trying to defend this bottom lane tower. Angry Present is popping the Cyclone to try and keep No Name in place, but a nice flash away from the pull means that Angry Present is not going to be able to find much more, and in fact has to dash away from the surprising amount of damage that the Swain is doing.
Yeah, I mean, the Swain did finally complete the, I say finally, but, like, he completed the Leandries.
Oh, here we go again. It's the vision control for Dreadnought on the Baron. They don't have any information. Chitin is still on the bottom side of the map and he has teleport, but he's in the Death Realm right now. He's not joining his team if they're going to try and contest this Baron. No Name is going to die, but I'm not sure that matters. If this Baron goes over, there's no smite. It's on 60 health. Somebody take it! ICGE picks up Young Nuts, but CB Cooper grabs the Baron. He had smite. I don't know why he didn't just take it. It was on 60 health, but he'll take it. Chitin has now rotated up into the fight. Nice teleport to get the obliterate onto Peacemaker. Adishon trying to walk away from this one, but Mordekaiser says no, you are going down. Angry Present trying to get the trade back onto Cooper. Symphonic wants to make the play happen. Nice flash forward from Hello, but it's flashed in response from CP Cooper, and it's one Baron buff left for Dreadnought, and this game is starting to slip away from them.
So I think, interesting enough, I don't think that MF ulti was actually dealing damage to the
It was so close. It was so close, but it wasn't hitting the Baron, which meant that CB Cooper was able to secure it in time, but only getting one Baron buff out of that play, despite the fact that Chitin is now 10-1 on Mordekaiser, feels like a bit of a disaster.
Yes, it is 100% a disaster, because now it's just like, well, it doesn't matter that we have this buff on our jungler, who is on a scaling, power farming jungler, who really can't be in a position to be pushing these waves while there's camps up. Like,
yeah, it's the jungler's curse, where if you want to get your income, you have to be farming your camps efficiently and quickly, unless you are like gank after gank after gank after gank and just making things happen on the map constantly, which Shyvana can't do really without her ultimate.
Also disagree and going a second tank item second. I think that would have been just better to build your demonic rather than going right into your Force of Nature. Force of Nature is definitely like a fine third item in this situation. I don't know that it's worth building it second here, because you're not going to be getting the desired E damage that you're really looking for.
Oh, Peacemaker is pulled into the Death Realm again. Chitin has flashed over the wall. The exhaust is through, but I just don't think there's anything Peacemaker can do. Chitin's gonna pick him up. Not get the stats because it was outside the Death Realm, but he's got the Rylai's. He's able to just walk at no name. The bullet time goes a little wide, but it's a double kill from Mordekaiser. He's got the bailout jugs on him. Symphonic's gonna take the kill. The Dragon's Descent has to be burned by CB Cooper just to make sure he doesn't get caught. Chitin is a monster right now.
He is 180 CS right now and 12-1. Yes, he cannot be stopped right now. At least not in a team fight setting.
Yeah, this is the kind of situation where you have to pull 2 or 3 people to focus down the Mordekaiser. But at this point, he's level 15. He's going to be level 16 very soon. And with the short cooldown on that ulti, I don't know if you can pull 3 people to focus him. But speaking of getting focused, hello, more like goodbye. Young Nats is going to find him there. Chitin is going to try and chase him down, but it is Camille. She's kind of mobile. I think she's just going to be able to walk away from this one.
Yeah, so at this point, Hello wasn't able to swat away Nats as much as we would like him to. And is unfortunately going to fall and leave them in a situation where this is going to be a 4v5.
4v5 with the dragon in 10 seconds. Hello, unlike Adishon, doesn't have teleport, so he's gonna be forced to just walk down. It is Misfortune, she will be able to strut her way down, but it's gonna take her a bit of time to get there, so maybe DZG wants to just stall this out. Chitin, on full man mode, is just zoning every member, pulls someone into the Death Realm. It was CB Cooper, but the rest of the team is surrounding them, just waiting for them to come out. ICGE pops the Glacial Prison, but a nice Seraphine ulti finds a few members. Chitin is still alive, though. He still hasn't died. He's got the Renata bailout on top of him. There's the bailout finally going down, but Young Nats is finally going to drop, which gives Chitin his health bar back, and now Mordekaiser just gets to walk forward menacingly as he wants to. It's Shutdown Gold going over to Adishon, but it's 2 kills for 4, and potentially now 5. Chitin picks up 4 more kills for himself, and they now can pick up the Mountain Soul for free. As long as Symphonic isn't the only person doing it.
This is extremely impressive by Chitin, because based on the way the 4v5 was initially looking out, and him pulling in the Shyvana into the Death Realm, I honestly thought that this was going to be a lost fight for the side of DZG, but because of the Renata ulti and the revive ability, they were able, like, the Mordekaiser was able to just kill everyone because he was constantly able to sustain himself because of the Renata's focus of abilities onto him, as well as his own shielding and healing that he's getting.
Yeah, this is the kind of gameplay, and these are the kind of fights where Renata thrives. These scrappy fights where everyone is mismanaging their abilities and maybe not, like, focusing at 100%, because it meant that Chitin was able to survive for as long as he did, get the bailout, and then get revived from it as well. It was just so much coming into this Mordekaiser, but he was able to handle it all, because this is a 3.5 item Mordekaiser. He's so strong right now.
Yeah, there's no one currently in this game that can stop that Mordekaiser. Especially now that he has Mountain Soul, he's just going to be as beefy as possible and just as hard as to kill.
Yeah, this is Nash's Tooth Mordekaiser as well, so he's going to be really good in the 1v1. If he catches someone in the Death Realm with passive on, they are not surviving.
No. I don't even think the Nashers at this point really makes that much of a difference, because it could be any other AP item, and I guarantee it would still be the same.
Well, speaking of other AP items, he's finished his 4th item. He's got Demonic Embrace now. And DZG is just going to start the Baron on spawn. But all members of Dreadnought are here. No name. Popping the ulti. The Seraphine ulti is going to find 4 members. So much coming through. But Chitin's in the death realm with CB Cooper. He does not care. DZ Hello finds No Name. Young Nats has finally shown up. Symphonic is going to survive with a sliver of HP. But no, Nats is going to shut him down. But it does not matter. Angry Present picks him up. And that is 1 traded for 3. And that's guaranteed Baron for Dread Zone.
Yeah, no, definitely the ultis from Angry Presence were definitely an Angry Presence, if you're catching my drift here in this fight.
I thought we were done. I thought we were past this. Nice fight from Angry Present is going to secure the Baron. And yeah, this is a 17-kill Mordekaiser. He's a little fed right now. He's kind of strong in this game.
Yeah, considering that
Oh my god! Look at the gold difference mid!
It's a lot. It is almost literally double.
Oh my god. I've heard of like flame horizoning when you get above 100 farm, or when you double your opponent's farm. What do you call it when you double someone else's gold? Do we have a name for that?
I mean, we could come up with one.
We could just call it the Chitin, because he's flashing forward into Peacemaker. He doesn't care. He has the Death Realm not available to him. These might actually be in trouble now. He does get shut down as the rest of his team wasn't close enough. A nice Seraphine ulti is going to find 3. Hello is going to get rooted in. This is the fight that Dreadnought was looking for. DZG has overstepped and they lose 4. Angry President is the only one left alive. And that's 4 Baron buffs gone. A disastrous fight for Dread Zone.
Yeah, I definitely was thinking that the game was going to be almost over here for the fact of how much of a lead that side of DZG had at this point. But Chitin overstepping into 5 members, quite literally trying to 1v5, was not necessarily the best decision.
Yeah, I think it's what we call a bit of a confidence play, maybe a bit of an ego check, as he maybe was just doing a bit of limit testing. He is going to lose his shutdown gold and still have 600 more to give. But yeah, that's 2 towers and potentially the 3rd going down for Dreadnought, as they're going to find plenty of gold from these objective bounties and equalize the gold lead down to less than 2,000.
Yes, it's kind of a big deal when you really think about it, because this was going from like a almost 7,000 gold like difference to even, and that complicates the game quite a bit. Like, they are currently resetting on backing on a ton of
Peacemaker has to burn his flash to get away. Hello wants to make this play happen, but I think they're just gonna have to be happy with Peacemaker's flash.
Yes, it definitely might be another potential target for a Mordekaiser ulti moving forward.
Yeah, speaking of Mordekaiser ulti targets, No Name is no longer a target as he's finished his QSS and his Zhonya's, so there's no real way for him to get pulled into the Death Realm now. They are gonna, with the last Baron buff on Angry Present, push down the inhibitor tower, potentially look to take the inhibitor, though they can't do too much damage to it. Chitin trying to just zone the members of Dreadnought away as much as possible. They are gonna try and just disengage from this one. Swain with the eye, just trying to get any damage in that he can, just trying to get a little bit of poke on the way out, but it is just gonna be Dreadzone walking away. Nicely played.
Yeah, had they actually did that the first time and Chitin not gotten caught,
walked in 1v5, yeah.
It definitely would have worked out. They wouldn't be in this necessarily sticky situation as they're coming into what is essentially a make or break Elder Drake fight.
Yeah, Elder Dragon is up in less than a minute, and with the reset coming through, it means that Dreadnought is going to have the guaranteed vision control on the bottom side of this map. And maybe DZG wants to just say, hey, you guys go ahead and start Elder. We're just going to push your base, but the wave is so far away. It's still another 30 seconds until it spawns, so they have time to push the next wave in. But it is something that DZG has to be worried about, whether they can finish the game or whether they even want to walk into this at all. No Name is on the front line. Chitin is looking for his target to pull into the death realm. He's going to grab CB Cooper. The Serving ulti again is so big, stopping Hello's bullet time. Young Nats is going to be forced away from Symphonic. Doesn't get the last hit. Chitin has found Cooper in the meantime. No Name goes down. Chitin is in his element in this fight, just making everything happen. And then
I think this is game
for Angry President, and that could potentially be the end of the game. The Super Waves are pushing down mid lane. The Nexus towers are up and full HP, but the respawn timers are above 30 seconds. There's the potential for this game to just end.
Unless the Ezreal is able to somehow fend off 5 members of DZG, it's game over.
Yeah, ICGE can just tank this Nexus tower. He doesn't have a care in the world. Adishan is going to get tagged by the slow from the Rylai's and be forced away from his own towers. There's nothing he can do, and in decisive fashion in a 30-minute game, DZG is
the kill!
Oh.
I don't know. Chitin definitely was MVP that game. I'm sure if we look at the damage charts, he once again probably had quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, Chitin on Mordekaiser did a casual 40,000 damage in 30 minutes. That looks pretty good. But, excitingly, with this win, it means that DZG Elysium has locked in first place. First seed for this regular split, which is a really nice spot for them to be.
Yeah, definitely I mean, it's definitely a very, a very good showing so far. They've had a great season, and despite their early blunders game 1 and even game 2, they were able to confidently come out of this third game as the clear victors of the series. More and in the ways beyond just the winning or losing.
Yeah, they looked much cleaner in Game 3 than they did in Game 1 and Game 2. They looked confident. There were a couple of slip-ups here and there, potentially with Chitin walking into 5 enemy team members, but we don't have to talk about that. It's a DZG win. It's one we're happy to see. They scaled up over the course of the series, and they looked good during it.
Yes, very impressive. Who would you say, though, is your MVP of the series?
I mean, if we're including the losing side, I have to give it to Peacemaker. Every single one of his ultis, no matter what champion he was playing during this whole series, looked so good. The Renata ultis in Game 1, the Nami ultis and Bubbles in Game 2, and these Seraphine ultis in Game 3 were probably the only reason the fights were as close as they looked. The fact that he was able to cover so much of the map with his presence was such a big deal for them.
Yeah, definitely a good showing all around by Peacemaker. I think that Peacemaker was able to single-handedly keep their team together, even at times when the game was looking rocky. But importantly,
if I'm looking at just the winning team, I gotta give it to ICGE. His Sejuani looks gross. It looks disgusting.
Really? We're not giving it to Chitin for their performance?
Look, Chitin did a lot, but he also was probably the reason that the games went as long as they did, if we're being reasonable.
I think I'm reasonable enough to agree with you.
I think that is going to be it from us here, though, on the caster desk. I have been Whatsuperty, and this has been my new good friend and co-caster, Tony. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, and thank you all in chat for joining us tonight. We appreciate you all being here, and Elysium locked in first seed. Thanks for watching.